USAA Insurance. Making insurance easy is our duty. Eligibility restrictions apply. Insurance provided by United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
They say credit belongs to the man in the arena who spends himself in a worthy cause. The glory is reserved for the few who, no matter what, answer the call to enter the arena. It echoes out, reverberating across the globe. It only acts to reach the bold, never the timid. The call delivers victory to the deserving and rewards the devoted. For when your time comes, there is only one option. Enter the arena. Fight for the call.
Welcome to week 2 of the final stage of the 2021 season. It's the Minnesota home series and the stakes keep getting higher as Ultra face the Guerrillas to start things off today. We've got a couple of bangers coming your way for the start of this epic home series. But first, we need some talk about the points and what is going on. Toronto, they're 5 points behind Empire for second seeded champs, and the bye looms large for both of these teams. Now, of course, FaZe have locked up the #1 seed, but the rest is still unsettled, and settled it will be before champs. Before we get into all the numbers and the teams, I've got to welcome you into our CDL HQ presented by USAA. My mates Standy and Nameless are on the desk with me today. Of course, we got the lumberjack look going on, folks. Obviously, we got the Crimsix look going on as well, apparently. But gents, let's start, of course, with Ultra, because, you know, Ultra, they've been looking pretty damn good. But my question to you guys to start things off is, Ultra, are they better or worse than the team we saw win Major 2?
For me, I think they're 100% better than they were at the Major 2. The reason why is because at the Major 2 event, they ended up going 5-7 in hardpoint. It wasn't their best game mode, but ever since then, their hardpoint has hit a full 180. Now they are currently sitting at 18-10 ever since that Major 2, so they're just flipping the switch, man. And this is when you talk about a team like Toronto, they're just such a well-rounded team, and you cannot find any weaknesses in their gameplay. They continue to get better every single match. That's why they are still the hardest matchup for me versus Atlanta FaZe. Toronto, they just continue to get better, and you can just tell their hardpoint stats are just all out of this world right now.
Yeah, and you look at this Toronto Ultra roster, I definitely think that they're better than they were at the Major 2. Since then, I mean, in Stage 4 groups, these guys went 12-0. They were just 3-0 clapping everybody in their path. And then, obviously, you know, the rest of the competition in the league is starting to get better. You look at FaZe, a team that brought in an S&D coach and started to widen their map pool. It's so tough to consistently beat those guys, yet Toronto can contend with them on a consistent basis. Also, the rest of the league has gotten better as well. You look at Dallas Empire, a team completely improved when they picked up Vivid and went to the LAN. They were unreal. So, yes, for Toronto, I like where they're going. I like where they're headed. They've remained a top 3 team, if not top 2. I think they're better still.
Couldn't agree more. I think Toronto Ultra obviously a consistent top dog in the league, and I think a lot of our kind of top teams are really tweaking things at the moment, and it's all about closing that gap a little bit for some of the guys that are underneath them. But how far is that gap? That is a question. Hopefully some questions will be answered after today, but we need to move on, and I'm talking about Røkkr right now. Røkkr obviously coming off a disappointing 3-1 loss to Ultra. Not exactly ideal, especially as they're hosting this home series here, but the bright light for this team really has been Standy. Bringing him on mid-season really was a glimmer of hope for this Røkkr team, and we got to talk about Rookie of the Year MVP type scenarios here. And I know you gents don't love to kind of predict things, but I need to know what you're thinking, because X and Q have actually put Standy behind Insight and HyDra. Do you agree with that pick? Where would you put Standy right now with the rest of these candidates?
I'm actually going to completely agree with X and Q and put Standy also in that 3rd spot. When you talk about the other 2 rookies who are sitting above them, you have Insight, who's #1. The guy joins in on the Toronto Ultra. They ended up going to that Major 2 and winning that championship. And in the 2nd spot, you got HyDra. This is a guy who came in for New York. They had such an insane spree in their hardpoint. Pretty sure they ended 11-0. And then they went on to another Grand Finals in that Major 3 to end to face off against Atlanta FaZe. Now, when you talk about Standy, ever since Standy has entered the Minnesota Rokkr roster, he's been that guy for this team. It's just he hasn't reached the same level of competition that the other two rookies have met. He's still a great player, but just HyDra and Insight are both above him right now.
Yeah, and for, HyDra, first of all three of these players are incredible. They're great rookies, but you look at HyDra and Insight, and they've been able to beat FaZe, and that's sort of our barometer of deciding on where these rookies land, but they've been able to beat FaZe and individually have amazing series against those squads. You think to HyDra, when he came into the league, he just was lighting it up and immediately makes it in an appearance against them, and they took them out in a Game 5 in a 1v1 against Simp. Like, that's absolutely insane. And they've been able to take them down twice now. And then Insight, obviously, he's won a championship. But yeah, Standy is very good. His team just hasn't had as much success.
You know what, gents, I don't envy you guys and having to justify who's the best at the moment. We have so many talented rookies in this league. I wouldn't know where to begin, to be quite honest. I love them all. They're all incredible. But I tell you what, folks, we actually have only 2 weeks left until Major 5 and seeding is locked in for champs. So it's a crucial time right now in our season and every single match counts. So my favorite game on the desk to play with you, gents, is fill in the blank, if you will. The team with the most to lose this weekend is...
For me, I think the team with the most to lose this weekend has to be New York. After the performance that they put up last week, going 0-2, they need to have a good bounce back in that series versus the Ravens because they cannot go to 0-3 and then start off in that major, in that losers bracket. But even more, their confidence is going to be completely out the window if they lose that series. This is a team who we considered top 3 at a point throughout the year, but they've just faced so much adversity recently that it's really hard to see where they stand up against these top teams. So they need to come out in that series, win it in a dominant 3-0 fashion to get back on the right track, to at least trying to make themselves make it into that winner's side.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people would say New York, but, looking at New York and their schedule, it's very unlikely that they make it into the winner's bracket. So if I'm New York, yes, confidence is important, but it's more so just working on things and damage control going into the major because look at the schedule. They're going to play FaZe, right? So even if they beat FaZe and they win those other 2 matches that they're supposed to win, they end up 3-2. Now, LA Thieves and OpTic both play Paris and Royal Ravens respectively, so they'll probably get another win. So if it comes down to a 3-way tie, New York still gets edged out by OpTic and Thieves, and then obviously in that first place spot, we expect FaZe to be there. So New York more than likely starts in the losers bracket. So just focus on your issues and problems going forward. So the team that I think that has the most to lose this week is the Minnesota Rokkr. Now look at this roster. They've had a tumultuous season. It's been very tough. You look at them and in their matches this week, they have Surge and Empire. Now if they lose both those matches, they start in losers bracket. This is like your last chance, baby. It's time to turn up. These guys need to win these matches for confidence so they can land a spot in the winners bracket, have a good run, and prepare and get as much practice as possible going into the World Championship after the major. They need that practice more than anything, and you got to win so you get more practice. So they have a lot to lose this week.
You know what, there is a lot going on. We have plenty of crucial matches deciding the fate of some of our teams. And speaking of, let's actually take a look at some of the matches we got coming your way this week presented by the US Army and take a look what is going to be coming up today. So first up, we got Ultra versus LAG and then Røkkr versus Surge. Friday is going to hold Mutineers versus Empire to start that day and LA Thieves versus the Titans, Atlanta FaZe. And I tell you what, we head on over to the weekend, 3 apiece on each day of course, and our Game Fuel marquee match for Saturday, Surge versus Ultra, and Sunday our Game Fuel marquee match is OpTic versus FaZe. I already know you guys are screenshotting, that's in the calendars. That's going to be a wicked match. And our T-Mobile 5G weekly drop, Røkkr versus Empire. Well, we're off, friends. Match 1, LAG versus Ultra. Lando and Studder on the mics to kick off your day, and they'll be with you right after the break.
Presented by USAA Insurance. They make it easy to insure your stuff like rigs and gear, and they have your back. Call of Duty League is brought to you by T-Mobile. T-Mobile is the shot caller in 5G. Lead the game from the lobby to the last push with America's largest, fastest, and now most reliable 5G network.
Hi everybody and welcome. It is day one of the Minnesota Rokkr home series presented by USAA Insurance. Before we get into our matches, we got to talk about what these matches mean. This is our current playoff picture, just to kind of get somewhat of an idea where all of our teams do in fact sit. As you notice in that far right column, still a number of different rosters fighting for that last spot. What LAG is going to be a team that we're looking out for today. Meanwhile, Minnesota Rokkr is trying to hold on to their 6th seed right now in comparison to the LA Thieves. Ultra, they're trying to break into that top 2 position in regards to the standings as well. And what a game we had to start off this home series and this day. It is the LA Guerrillas taking on the Toronto Ultra. It's the battle of the purple teams. And Stud, you and I are also rocking some purple. We got the flannel out. I'll tell you what, man, you look pretty good as a lumberjack, I'll be honest.
Yeah, man, I just want to hand you a 2x4 because I feel like with this kind of shirt, we're meant to do construction, you know? But we're looking good, man. You know, it's the Minnesota home series. Shout out to these guys for sending us all the great drip. Looking beautiful as ever. But I'm excited for this match, man. On one side, you got the Ultra, which they're the 2nd best team in the game, man. We're expecting them to come in and just handle business. And on the opposite side, you have LAG, who are still trying to find their footing after adding a player like Mental to the roster. Haven't really seen a lot of success, but it's week 2. It's time to turn that ship around and hopefully go into that winning direction.
Yeah, like I said, this week is huge for a number of different teams. Obviously, if you sit well in the standings, you're just trying to elevate yourself. If you sit now kind of in that bottom 4, you're looking at yourself saying, hey, we have no choice but to try and walk away with the victory. And one team that has been able to look good all season long, who have been so consistent, has been the roster that we're about to see in hunt for their 2nd win of Stage 5. Let's go and meet the boys, your Toronto Ultra.
Try to get mad, everybody wanna keep up, don't you know I move too fast, I'ma zip right past, drip all on my swag, why you trying to size me up, you don't wanna try your luck, how does it stove, what did you know, burn like coal, yeah you know I go, way too hot, yeah I really too cold, I'ma keep going till I hit my goals, better get back when I'm in my zone, do it for the ones that I know back home, did it myself, they ain't put me on, don't you call back if you hear that tone, love the level.
And there you have it, your Toronto Ultra, as we mentioned, looking for their 2nd win to kick off Stage 5. And so at the top of the show, you spoke some pretty high praise around this roster, and for good reason, talking on how they very well still remain as the most difficult matchup, in your opinion, for the Atlanta FaZe. And as we said, my friend, off of a great win versus the Minnesota Rokkr as well.
Yeah, when you talk about Toronto, they're the 2nd best team that we have in the entire CDL. And the reason why is because every single stage, they just continuously improve. And just looking back at that Major 2, their hardpoint game wasn't the best. They went 5-7 throughout that event, and they were still able to walk away with the W. And ever since then, though, their hardpoint game has really just flipped the switch on it. They're now 18-10 since that Stage 2, so they're just improving. And when you talk about this team, they get better and better every single match, and I'm excited to see what they're able to do if they do match up with Atlanta FaZe till the end of the year once again.
Yeah, a lot of eyes on this Toronto Ultra team, and bands to be specific, they're maybe trying to get the boys, in a pretty good mood coming into this game, as it's not going to be an easy match by any means. When we talk about this next roster, they will take teams at times the distance. It has been peaks and valleys so far throughout the year, and unfortunately for them, it's been more Kansas than anything in regards to valleys. But hey, like I said, this team, they're looking for some momentum. Can they get a W, their 1st one of Stage 5? It is your LA Guerrillas.
Where my friends go, it was simple. When the ends low, switch the tempo. I got right, I got heart, I won't die, I'ma fight. I go down, bet I strike, I go hard day and night. Money on the line, keep calling. Money on the books, need all that. My kids, they'll be ballin'. Got a real bankroll, not for Instagram. My mama on the line, keep calling. Praying for me, know I need all that. Told me it's not about ballin'. Real blessed, but I'm still sinning, man. I got right, I got heart, I won't die, I'ma fight. I go down, bet I strike, I go hard day and night.
And there you have it, your LA Guerrillas. Stud, we come into stage 5 talking, you know, this team is going to be making some changes, a very controversial move, and bringing in Mental for Sheen, another controversial roster move for the Guerrillas. And so far, my man, as much as I hate to say it, it hasn't worked out.
Yeah, it really hasn't, man. So far throughout stage 5, they're sitting at 0-2. They won 1 hard point, and they were finally able to break a 13 loss spree in that game mode. It just hasn't been good for this team, man. And I'm hoping that today they're able to turn it around and really show why they decided to pick up Mental. But let's just hop right into our keys to victory for the LAG. Outslayed by 109 so far in stage 5. This is completely unacceptable, man. If you're a professional team, you cannot be losing both series that you have played so far by 50+ kills. Like, you're getting completely outslayed. You need to be a little more consistent in the kill column. Mental also had a rough start to the stage 5. He's sitting at a 0.62 overall KD. He needs to turn it around today versus the Ultra, because you know the Ultra, they got some unbelievable submachine gun players on that side, so Mental needs to have a big day. And Prestinni used to be this team's backbone, but nobody on this roster so far throughout stage 5 is over 1.0 KD, and this is where it really, like, just makes me think about that roster change, because Chino, he was that vocal leader in that game mode. He was that guy that was taking over in certain situations, but now it's who is that player? Who is the guy that's going to be their play caller? And so far I feel like they haven't really figured it out yet, and they've been struggling on that, so they need to get back on form in S&D.
Yeah, without a doubt, when we talk about this team, I mean, S&D almost seems to be kind of the backbone that we would assume. Not only has it been that for them, but it also seems to be what is a majority lacking for them. Now, our game field keys to victory here for the Toronto Ultra continue to remain flawless versus the Guerrillas in hardpoint. They faced off a number of different times this season, and Ultra have beat them in hardpoint every single time. 6-0 versus LAG this season in that game mode. And then also Insight, he's had his way with LAG so far throughout the year. A 1.29 KD this season. He'll need to try and shut down the AR presence that exists on the other side. And I guess, like I said, when we talk about this Toronto Ultra team, I know a lot of the focus at times can go toward the ARs. I know we talk about Bance and Kleenex a decent amount, but when we talk about the stats, when we talk about a number of different things, a lot of the focus can be on Cammy and Insight, just one of the many factors that LAG are going to have to deal with today. And when we take a look at, I guess, what the first 2 respawns, we've got double garrisons, obviously the Moscow S&D for game 2, Apocalypse for game 4, and if we can get all the way to it, it will be that raid S&D. I mean, in terms of vetoes, like, are you happy if you are LAG in this position, because you almost kind of value the SMGs? You're almost, I guess, allowing for Toronto to not rely on ARs as much. How do you feel about the veto specifically for the Guerrillas in there?
I really enjoyed the vetoes for the Guerrillas, because if you go back and just look specifically at that map 1, they were on a 13-game hardpoint loss spree, and then they played Minnesota Rock on this and were able to break it. So just looking at the AR players, because Assault had a great first map, at least versus Minnesota on this map, to at least put his teammates and his team up 1-0 in the series. They just need to have a good response, because I like the Garrison. Just they come out and lose this hard point, you can talk about that S&G struggle of this team. It's been really bad recently, because their play call has just not been there. So they need to come out and win this first hard point to stand a chance in this series.
I'm being told as we fly in for game 1, there's actually a poll going on in the chat asking who in fact wore the Rokkr flannel the best. Stud, I'm gonna give it to you, man. You look fly today. You look great.
You think so?
Yeah.
Nah, I think I'm going Nameless, 100%.
Okay, yeah,
Nameless look. Hey, that's my duo, man. You know, he always puts it together really good.
Unfortunately, Kleenex taken for the first blood. So hey, already hopping into this game, and if you are LAG, you're happy with the scenario that you get thrown already. Into P1 we go. Talking about styles, LAG getting what's been given to them. Nice start there for Mental, a quick 2-0, given the fact that Ultra do have those preferred spawns. That is what they're going to be relying on most, but you could not ask for a better start there from LAG. Whether it was all of them or not, they are 25-0 to start.
Yeah, this is a great start from LAG, as Mental is going to drop. He was trying to work towards some streaks, but Vance was able to find 2. Eventually, Ultra able to break it, and that's going to be a clean 4 down, but now the spawns are coming in through the backside for LAG. Actually, 2 players are going to be split, so Insight's going to have a tough task at hand. Try to locate both of these players. As Mental, he's going to be able to peek. He's going to drop. Now it's aBeZy's turn to trade. Insight's going to be able to spot him. aBeZy's going to nade himself, so he's not going to die. And both players right there from LAG drop on the backside, so Ultra are going to be fully set up for this P2 now.
And those are just situations where you're the Guerrillas. You go back, you know, watch some VODs, then you're saying, gosh, we had a 2 versus 1. Insight's the only player back here. We get blessed with this opportunity and just not able to click with it. And based off of that, Insight has found himself a 3rd in a row. Again, a great start for LAG off of that P1, but already based off the scorecard, things quickly beginning to change as we head toward radar, and Ultra have held all of the time so far. iLLeY doing everything they can to try to break on in from every single angle, whether it's green, whether it's through bricks or through the backside. They're getting shut down every single which way, but it's aBeZy from the skies getting tagged up and will be bagged as well. Ultra getting every single second over at P2, a flawless hard point for them, as now the race is on for the next HP.
And that was a big kill from Cellium right there off the rotation, because that allows his teammates to at least, you know, hold the pressure from these early Toronto players trying to push out towards the backside. Assault's going to win a huge one-on-one as well. So now that's going to leave iLLeY to start spawning in the back, but actually the last player is going to be Cellium. He's going to drop, so now Toronto, they were able to flip. aBeZy is going to be the only player in towards tools. Once he gets taken care of, it's going to be a full setup from the Ultra, and they break it immediately. iLLeY needed to hold right there, but now with this remaining time on this, Ultra can open this game wide open.
Yeah, this is scary to see. P2 to P3 are Money Hills on Garrison and Ultra doing a fantastic job, and our first set of rotations coming out the way that we thought that they could, as Bance taking players down through water, rather through the vents, excuse me, as Bance does drop Kleenex from the back. Teammates watching their back in a wonderful position now for the Ultra, as we'll step aside and go to an Astro listening with Toronto.
Don't go left, one's you, right. You.
You win.
One's you. You can go right if you want.
Yeah,
Salt's weak on time. I'm one shot, give me a sec.
I got one.
Nice.
I'm just waiting, I'm waiting.
Yeah, I'm top green.
Could be you, could be you.
Top green. Yeah, yes, you. aBeZy came back to you, Toby. He's still in you. Push through. One shot on time.
Top green, weak.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my, rails, plat.
Rails really weak. I'm one shot, catch out.
Plat.
Give me a sec. Top green really weak. aBeZy plat. Mental left side mid. He's rails and aBeZy's plat, and then Cellium's top green. aBeZy's still plat. I don't think they see me. I've gone through. He might be good.
Right side mid, S.
Green absolute, Cellium.
2 plat then. 1 rails.
Yeah, I've got kills. Watching rails. Nah, the mentals kill me.
Keep him off of you. Can't great box.
Yeah.
Oh, he...
Go on, dead. Left side 2, mental. Right,
yeah. Left side mid, Cam.
Let's just scan mid. Right side. Nice.
We look for
mental, right? Nice, good shot. I'm gonna flip. Green.
Green.
Should have gone green. It's fine. Yeah, bricks. Nice, good shit. Looking for one more probably back there.
Yep, I think he's deep back tank.
Yeah, I saw that one in. Yeah, probably one might be still bricks. I'm hitting out vent. Cellium and mental.
Are we green?
Look for Cellium still. Mental's one shot vent. Gone gold. I'm floating.
Yep,
I'm watching my cats. Did I just shoot green? Cellium's green. Dead.
One more green.
P1 dead on one shot.
Just like floating. I'll block. I can block here.
Close time with me, I think. Front gold or something. Yeah, okay. Come back to you, Jamie. Top green on me.
I'll make sure on the back now.
Stop green. Nice. Right side mid. P2. Right side mid. I see mental.
One dead last guy. Yeah, one behind. Someone trap him.
I'm green. Give me my square.
I'll bang green. Go. I have a front shot, okay?
One more at the back.
I'm trying to watch deep. I'm one shot.
Deep, Billy, deep.
Well, Stud, this is a dominant start. It's fair to say, 156 to 45, nearly through our first set of rotations, and Ultra beginning to take over. And speaking of taking over, you're actually leading in the poll right now, my man.
Oh, well, that's pretty good. I guess, you know, the chat, they really like the way I put my flannel together.
Yeah.
If only if I had a 2x4 to complete the outfit. But
true. Back
into this game, Ultra up by 100 points right now. iLLeY are struggling to try to find some time in this game so far. As aBeZy approaching through this side bricks, only be 1 second remaining. So now it's all about getting back to this P1, and it's going to be early setup from iLLeY. There's no one getting on the time right now. But they have to try to get a full 60 here to get back into this game, because we see how teams are able to do it when they're able to hold a good amount of time off of that P5. They're able to get at least a good 45 to 50 seconds on P1 and then keep that top green control as well. iLLeY just need to play perfect, but here comes inside on the backside, able to take down one, able to take down the second. The pinch is going to be in, and Ultra break right on through.
Oh my goodness, and inside decides going to put the Krig away for a moment. Rocks out the 74U and finds himself on a pretty healthy flank. 25 seconds left. As we mentioned, iLLeY, their goal is not to just get time at P1, but to try and flip the next spawn. But they just continually are getting killed from the back line. Just manually found the third. Got a little bit dicey for a moment, but the trades are going to favor the Ultra. And with 10 seconds left over at this hard point, again, you're looking at the Guerrillas, you're taking a look at the map spread, where they at, what kind of map control do they have, and the answer is really not much at all. Not too much map control in the slightest, as once more, Bance could come in and start to spoil the party. As iLLeY, one strong through the back, that actually was aBeZy for a moment. Does slip his way inside of bricks, but he gets dropped as well. And again, it's just iLLeY struggling in the hard points. Ultra taking over. We see 9 and 16 right now from Silly. Mental currently -4. Just not getting that explosive slang that obviously allows for teams to be able to perform the way that they are. As aBeZy's able to drop 2 in the flank, but again, there's 25 seconds left. This is something that they have to do. You're looking at the scoreboard and you're saying, hey, when was this earlier? As they get met with a few shots, CleanX drops 2. Not only do Ultra put themselves in a good spot for the remainder of this hill, but they've also got that next rotation on lock as well. LAG doing everything they can just to try and fight for every single second, Stud.
Yeah, it's just not good, man. Ultra, they're just dominating all the rotations. Every single time, they're picking up the kills at the right time. They're flipping the spawns. LAG just simply don't have an answer. That's 2 times right there where they dominated P2. Pretty sure Ultra able to gain at least 110 seconds off of that hard point. LAG breaking into the final 10 right there, but 240 to 75. Ultra should be able to close it out here.
And you notice Mental was literally mantling, or rather, CleanX was mantling there. He just tries to go for the shot. He doesn't really care. He has no problem. Last few seconds are going to come in, and that will be an early dub for the Ultra, 250 to 75. That now marks 3 losses in a hardpoint in this stage, Stud, for LAG. 2 of those being 60 clubs, and now this one being a 70 club. Not a good sign for LAG, as once more they start off slow in the hardpoint.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard when you're playing against the second best team in the game. But their hardpoint game is just simply not good. It's that simple, man. Like, they cannot break into hardpoints. They don't have the proper setups. They're not picking up the right kills at the right times. And that's why they're getting blown out a lot in these games. Now, they're down 0-1 in this series. This is where they need to answer back on the search and destroy. Next map is going to be Moscow. You just have to make sure that you're ready for those mid-map adjustments, because that's something that Toronto is so good at. It's just making the play on the fly. They rotate through the middle of the map, consistently wrapping the bombs towards either one. It's going to keep the LAG players on their toes. They just have to be ready for it and bounce back in this map number 2.
CleanX having a great performance to start off, 24 and 15. Now, I want to say half those kills were on the flank. LAG struggling with setups. We'll see how that can improve now towards some search and destroy. As we said, Stud, it has been their backbone. When this team has been at their best so far throughout the Cold War year, S&D was the mode that they relied on. Can they do it today versus one of the best teams in the entire CDL? Not just in the CDL, but also in S&D. We will find out with Moscow S&D up after this.
The Call of Duty League is presented by the US Army. What's your warrior? Presented by USAA. Getting insurance with USAA is easier than level 1. Learn more at usaa.com/insurance.
Hi folks, and welcome back. Obviously, if you're just joining us, you missed the first hard point. I will give you credit though. It was a little bit brisk. It was a little bit faster than we hoped that it possibly could have been. It was a solid win for the Toronto Ultra as LAG continue what's that in their struggles in search, or rather in hardpoint, it's like 1 in 15 in their last 16 hardpoints.
Yeah.
Just not great. And obviously, if you're the Ultra, if you're an Ultra fan, hey, you're happy. You're sitting pretty well. You are winning, and you'll only take as much as you can get. Like we said, now S&D up next. But on topic with the winning conversation, Stud, I believe we do have some final results in regards to the poll. You've won. Congratulations. Wait. Oh, I thought everybody was involved in this. It was just me versus you. They're trying to put us against each other. Well. That's not cool.
Yeah, we can't be against each other, dude. We're like hand and eye, you know, like yin and yang, baby. Like we go together, man. 58 and 42 though, it's almost even.
No, we're on the same team. So look at 100% of the vote. How does that work? Is that right math? Maybe.
Yeah. I'm like Jordan, you're Scotty, you know?
Okay. I like that. Okay. I get to be Scotty Pippen. I'll play some good defense, whatever I can do. I totally just look like Crimsix there for a moment with my hands out. Regardless, KD ranks throughout the season for Toronto Ultra. It's been a solid season, Stud. Like, so we look across the board. This team screams consistency, a well-rounded group, as you pointed out at the start of the show.
Yeah, man. Like, you can just tell from the top, like, the fact that Insight is overall 4th. This is a guy who came in fresh off the year. This is our top Rookie of the Year candidate, and he's consistently in that number 4 spot. And you have Cammy sitting underneath him in 12, and then the SMGs around each other in the same position. But this team is just so consistent, man. It's really scary to watch them go up against a lot of these other teams, except for Atlanta FaZe, because they make the teamwork look like it's the dream work, and it's just so easy for these guys. They dominated in that first hard point. Now they go into a search and destroy where their teamwork has really just prevailed versus a lot of these teams. Those mid-round adjustments are what put them over the top in this game mode, and hopefully they're able to bring it here as well.
Yeah, and I know one thing that we talked about so often in regards to Moscow search and destroy are those bomb site rotations. And at times, we talked about LAG. You know, they could be a little bit more of a slower group. I know that's kind of primarily the conversation on offense, but the same can be said as well on defense. When you have a team like Toronto who is so good and aggressive at kind of swapping from bomb site to bomb site, it can be difficult to keep up. And for a team like LAG that has been labeled to be at times slower in multiple game modes, SD included, that could be a worrying sign. As I know, we had like a crazy series with Toronto, like back at the stage 2 major or something like that, where they were like basically rotating the bomb like 3 or 4 times around, and teams could just not keep up. So they really kind of set the pace when it comes down to strategy on a map like this. But into round 1 we go, and primarily our eyes have to be fixed on toward the Guerrillas in need of an S&D win. More of a slower start as Insight does get pegged up for the time. It appears LAG have their sights somewhat focused on that B hit.
And one player from the LAG side that I really want to focus on, just in general for Search and Destroy, has to be aBeZy. This is a 2-time world champion, but currently he's sitting at a 0.5 in this game mode. He's the more aggressive player on this team, so he's going to be the early first blood. Basically, is the own version of their own aBeZy from Atlanta FaZe. But aBeZy, he really needs to step up, man. With a 0.5, 2-time world champion, you're better than that. You just need to show up.
It just goes to show you, man, how scary a player like Insight is. Literally, he's the only player here. Granted, Cammy just showed up. He's sitting in back PD and basically makes the entire roster of LAG go for the rotation. They run right into the jaws of Bance. Now into the 2 versus 2. Assault and aBeZy left to plant the bomb with 15 seconds left. Insight, he can cause some issues. He takes down 1. aBeZy's there for the beatdown. It's now into a 1 versus 1, but aBeZy has to go for the bomb, and Cammy is there. A great round from the Ultra, but one that got started off by Insight being the sole player in back PD. And as we said, Stud, run right into the jaws of the Ultra did LAG on the rotation there.
Yeah, I can't believe that aBeZy wasn't able to pick up that kill on Insight before he got the guy off the bomb. Like, that round probably goes in favor of LAG if Insight's not able to pick up that 1 kill. But with 10 seconds left, aBeZy knows he has to grab the bomb and eventually work that bomb plant. Perfect position right there out of Cammy to close out that round for his team. So now Ultra on the attack. Cammy is the guy to watch and search and destroy for this roster because he is their island player. The guy who's going to be the solo guy making plays. And you see what the aggression is going to do. Ultra, they're going to put a lot of pressure over towards A, but Assault reads it beautifully as they try to rotate through the middle of the map. He's able to find 2, and that's a 4v2 situation. Make it a 4v1 as Assault gets 3 on the round. LAG tied up 1 apiece.
Yeah, and for good reason. We'll get to watch this one again. I mean, we can see his angle to start off the round, just hanging out over at Statue. And Ronald, they did all they could. They did all they could, but they could not take down the turret. Assault Great job at playing his life. Takes down Cammy, a well-deserved hat trick in the round. I'm not so sure, Stud, how many opportunities he will get like that, but in the spotlight, in the moment, he's able to give his team a much-needed round. And I feel like, we talked about a number of different players. At times, I know we talked about aBeZy, Silly, you need to step it up. Whether it was Vivid or Cheen who have been on this roster, but I tell you what, man, like, whenever this team really thrives, like, it's just kind of been surprising to me. I feel like Assault should be, one of those players. He could be a takeover type of player. We talked about his early hardpoint success that he had versus the Rokkr. He led them to a win, and just little situations like that just show you how talented he can be as an AR for this group. But from ARs to SMGs, Vance getting traded out. CleanX able to pepper up Assault. Now we're into a 1 versus 3 down to Mental. He drops as well, and a great return there out of Toronto.
That was just a great round right there out of the Ultra. Early first blood coming in from Insight on Silly on the street. And then they had the man advantage. You saw the play that was going to come in from LAG. They decided to try to attack through the middle of the map. And it was just perfectly read as a couple players from the Ultra were aggressive over towards that A site. Shot a couple players in the back and eventually secured the round. I think the early first blood right there from Silly. You cannot allow Insight to get that pick, because then it completely breaks your setup. Just need to have a little bit more team-oriented pushes so you guys can try to close out these rounds.
As we say often, teamwork makes the dream work. CleanX having a few explosives off to his side. No worries, just a few of the hairs on his leg singed. And Mental's able to provide a little bit of nice fire from the back as well. Trying to single out a few players from the Ultra, but nothing given as of yet. First 30 are in, and not too much information has been granted. Silly will cross that 50-yard line toward that outer bricks position, and what a great spot he could be in. Does fire the first bullet, starts to distract for a moment, but Mental isn't there to find the initial trade. Toronto slowly but surely making their way up toward front. Mental, as soon as he checks the opposite side, is someone from the Ultra to begin to peek on out. aBeZy gets aggressive toward the bottom side. Assault there for the trade, as that will be 2 for him. And now with that, Insight makes it into a 2 versus 2. Cammy on the flank. As you said, the island player causing issues, as Silly is aware of at least one player, which is going to be Insight, but he's not able to win the gunfight. Locking down that position. An awkward challenge to try and make, but Insight once more goes big for the team, despite what was some great mid-round adjustments there from Adam Assault.
Yeah, great plays right there from Adam Assault, but it's just the early aggression right there from aBeZy. I don't really understand why you want to just headlessly rush up the Eskies right there, because you're just running into a preaim and you're going to die. Eventually the trade does come in, but they didn't really commit towards that bomb site. You saw once they found their kill on aBeZy, they decided to wrap back to the middle of the map, and then eventually Cammy got into that play. The flank player, the island player, makes a play once again. Ultra up 3-1. Now with the LAG on the attack. There's going to be a lot of pressure over towards the street side. Mental's actually going to find the first blood. So now it's all on Insight to try to hold the pressure coming through from this street side. Able to put down some early shots onto one, but the pressure's going to be here. Early shots onto Mental, able to take down one, able to take down the second as well. Silly eventually is going to get caught out as well. Now it's all up to aBeZy in a 1v2, making a 1v1, and he's going to clutch it up for the team. aBeZy going huge to keep his teammates into this game. We thought it was on Insight, who found 2 of his own, but aBeZy sneaking up with that SMG, able to read the second player onto CleanX, and now keep his team in this game, down 3-2.
Yeah, it got so dicey. I mean, I was getting ready to call it there for a moment, that it was like, okay, Insight starting off the round well, but aBeZy, as we said, if he's not dying early, what kind of impact he could make toward the middle or the end of rounds? Able to clutch up that 1 versus 2. As LAG remain in it, a big round for them to take. And they grab it on cue. As now we'll look through the eyes of the Ultra to start. It is a nice spread for LAG. Nothing too consistent for them in regards to what read they're looking to make. Which is fair, like we said, given how often the Toronto Ultra like to rotate that Bob stud.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. You just try to hold your setup and eventually play for some information. That's exactly what's going to happen here. The pressure only thing is going to come in through the middle of the map. Ultra able to back down that player in aBeZy. So now they're able to put the pressure on it, but Mental, he's going to get one, at least get the trade onto CleanX. So now it's going to be a 3v3, but you have to keep in mind of the positioning of Assault. Assault's going to be that player coming through gold. Cammy's going to be aggressive towards the side, able to take down one, but Assault is eventually going to get into this play. Silly's able to take down one, but now Assault has the positioning. With 25 seconds left, they have to try to work this bomb plant. What can Assault do?
I'm trying to take away an insight very well. They have spotted Assault there, and they will go for the rotation. Mark called there from the Ultra as they will get there just in time to plant down the bomb. And now Assault's life does get that much more difficult. That bomb will be planted successfully. Granted, he does have Krig and 74U. He's ready for the numerous amount of challenges he's going to have to make, but insight there, looming, taking down players constantly. And what was a great opportunity for a flank stud, as we said, Assault making his way there. Ultra, they decide to push on through. And what a great moment it was for them, whether or not they read a possible flank coming or not. Just the extra forces, the flank just not able to get there in time to make the pinch that they wanted.
Yeah, they had to have known that that player was coming on the flank, because Assault so far, he's been that player for LAG who's playing towards that street side, playing a little safer towards B. So once they got the information that they eliminated Mensu from this position, they're just going to put the pressure on. And that's exactly what happens. They were able to take down aBeZy. The trade does come into Silly. And then once they do that, all they have to do is just spot Assault, insight with the great shoulder, eventually work that bomb plan, and then Ultra walk away with it. So now Ultra 2 rounds away from closing this out. On the defense, Cleanex is going to be able to spot Mental, but you see the pressure from LAG coming in through the middle of the map. Number 2, which is going to be Bance, going to have his hands full here as he's able to get some information for his teammates. The challenge is going to be in. He's able to take down one. But aBeZy with the trade, so now it's all on Cleanex to try to stay alive in this position.
As Cleanex falls, kind of a similar situation to the last round where we got one player trying to make their way up through the flank. LAG aware that that could be a position at some point. Cammy not able to trade onto Mental. As now it will be a 1 versus 3. Insight, does he spot the head of Silly? He does. First kill gonna come in. The second one nearly there as well. As that's gonna be the first 2. Now into the 1 versus 1. Mental versus Insight. Insight, the number 1 player in S&D right now. The rookie versus rookie battle on the Eskies. Can Mental go big? He has to back on up. Does not have the weapon for the engagement. Around the corner he goes. Mental fires through, but he doesn't take him down. Insight with 5 HP is still afloat. What a battle this has been. Knows that he was at the bottom side of the Eskies. Does he go for the plant? That's what Mental thinks. Mental thinks he might have gone for the plant rather than defuse, and now it begins to come on in. Does Mental decide to challenge this? The defuse isn't nearly there. Mental decides around the corner, can get there in time, and he will not. A big 1 versus 3 clutch there from Insight. Took down the first 2 in a 1v1 that seemed to last an hour. Ends up going his way. What a round there from the rookie. As we said, Stub, the number 1 player in S&D KD for a reason now sits with double digits.
And if you're LAG, confidence out of this room, out of it. There's no way you're able to bounce back in this map. After you allow Insight to make that play right there, like, why is no one watching Eskies? You have one player in aBeZy who is watching their spawn, but Mental was just watching the flank. Eskies is the most important thing, even though you planted on the backside. He was able to kill aBeZy and then eventually find the second, and just made that round look easy. Early aggression from LAG, though, on this side of the defensive round, as they find 3, it's all going to be on Cleanex in the 1v4. He's able to take down 1. The challenge is going to come in, takes down the second, and LAG, they stay alive. It's getting scary, man. LAG, they just allow so many different things to happen. I cannot believe that Insight just clutched that 1v3, but LAG, they respond with their own defensive round and stay alive in this game, now down 5-3.
My heart dropped. My heart dropped as soon as Cleanex found that second kill. I'm like, don't tell me.
Oh my.
This is going to happen again. My word, LAG. At least they're able to grab that round. So as we said, we talk about momentum, confidence kind of being shot. Well, at least they're able to come away with that. As now they'll head back toward the attacking side. Silly 3 and 7. Rest of the roster sitting pretty comfortably and over positive. Much like Insight does, looking just to try and bring down players to start trying to halt that push. That could have been brewing. AR versus AR, and Cammy is able to win it. A nice shot there, as he will find the first blood onto Assault, making LAG's lives that much more difficult. But take a look at Cleanex, making his way up toward the side. Cammy finds a second, Insight for the third, and now it all comes down to Justin Fargo. Silly in a 1 versus 4. You look at the mini-map. It is players from every single angle. Come out with your hands up. And the Ultra will walk away with the S&D as well. A clean win off of some clutches, off of some nice plays, and off of some beams. Toronto now up 2-0 in the series.
Just some great setups right there from the Ultra, man. They consistently were finding that first blood on the street. And I don't know if LAG did their homework or anything, but there were multiple different angles where they were just getting first blood picked off from that street side, and then their entire push is getting shut down because then you're allowing that pressure to come in from that A site. That's why you saw CleanX hit that flank. They're just basically surrounding the players of LAG when one player is getting dropped early, and that's just a problem, man, because LAG, this was a game mode that they showed a lot of success in early stages in the year, but as of right now, man, it's just not been clicking for them, man. And Ultra, they're walking away with that one, up 2-0 now, going into a control. I'm still mind blown about that 1v3, man. I can't believe that LAG allowed that to happen. I can't.
I know it's. We'll actually have a chance to revisit that. But real quick, Insight 11-5. I mean, like I said, there's not enough positive things that we could say about this guy. We talked about him at the start of the show, leading that Rookie of the Year conversation, and it's so impressive that he's able to put up these numbers and to be in these clutch spots. Like we said, in his first year of being a professional. Now we'll go and take a look at it for a U.S. Army tactical play, folks. We needed a second visit at it. It is that round 7. It is the 1v3 from Insight. Stud, take it away, my friend.
So Insight, he goes on the full flank, and this is where that mental call out comes in late because the fact that he was on their side of the map, he's not able to give that information to his teammates. So Insight's able to walk right through Eskies and get that 2-piece. Mental does a great job at just working his bomb plan immediately. Puts the clock in his favor at this point, but Insight was able to spot him here. And now right here, I think Mental has the advantage in a gunfight. Look, you have to be a little more confident there. You have the head glitch. You got to shoot down on him. Even if he has a Krig, the guy's still pretty hurt. And this is the second attempt. The second attempt, you should have had that kill as well. But then you decide to run away. Insight is playing his life beautifully, and he plays the clock beautifully. He knows that there's 20 seconds left. Mental's only job here is to try to get him off bomb. Once he throws that first shoulder, he knows that he's just going to be playing shoulders from this point on. So Insight with the heads up play just hops the bomb, forces Mental to fully wrap back towards that bomb site. Just not enough time for Mental to get there, and Insight made that 1v3 look easy, but LAG just made so many mistakes in that play, they cannot allow that to happen.
Yeah, wonderful plays there out of the Rookie, and as we said, just has a wonderful, wonderful feel for the game, especially in these clutch scenarios. But rocking a 1.6 KD, impressive stuff from Insight, and he's also nominated for Esports Controller Rookie of the Year. Give this man the job, give it to him, he deserves it. But folks, when we come back after this break, it is time to find out whether or not this will be a clean 3-0 sweep, or will LAG be able to fire back. We will find out right after the break.
Seany, the official eyewear for the CDL. Armour your eyes with Seany Block's blue light protection glasses. by visiting zenny.com/gaming. Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. Call of Duty League is brought to you by T-Mobile. T-Mobile is the shot caller in 5G. Lead the game from the lobby to the last push with America's largest, fastest, and now most reliable 5G network.
What's up, guys? We're the Minnesota Rokkr, and today we're going to be cooking a tater tot hot dish for the Minnesota Rokkr home series.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hi there.
Hi. How you doing? But what's the first step?
The first step is to brown your ground beef. Do you know how to do that?
Wait, it just died.
Oh, it died? Okay.
Wait,
we're having some technical difficulties. Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
I'm not scared.
There we go. There it is.
That was better than I expected, to be honest.
It's bussing. Michael, y'all let us know if it's bussing. Oh, I just saw Steve come out of his mouth.
Oh, we absolutely love the Minnesota Rokkr. We absolutely love the team. We love the way that it looks. What a beautiful, beautiful, nice little setting, landscape that we have for this event. And folks, we gotta talk to you about something quite important. Witness the most epic moment in Call of Duty esports at the CDL Championship Weekend live in Los Angeles, August 19th through the 22nd. Get ready to watch your favorite pros compete on stage for the coveted title of 2021 CDL Champions. Make sure to follow @CODLeague on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or you can visit callofdutyleague.com/championship-weekend to learn more about CDL Champs 2021. As we said, it is going to be a phenomenal event, and like we said, series like this, matches like this in Stage 5 are all in preparation, all setting up what is going to be a wonderful, wonderful event at the end of the year.
Yeah, man, I cannot wait for that, for Champs, man. It's the best tournament all year long. This is exactly what the players live for, exactly what the players play for. If their year wasn't going as planned throughout the entire thing, at least they get to get their final mark at that World Championship. I remember back in the day, when you just think about that EG roster, the fact that they were able to walk away with that World Championship was mind-blowing to me. They had such a terrible year, and then they ended it on such a high note that it was insane, man. But it's a different year. We have different top dogs. Atlanta FaZe are the best of the best right now, and teams need to focus on trying to take them down. But back into this series we go. Garrison Control. On one side, you have Toronto, who are sitting at 9-4, LAG 4-7. And so far in the year, these guys have yet to play each other on this map. But if you're LAG down 0-2 in this series, you need to try to bounce back in this to even keep your hopes alive of trying to get that 8 seed and make it to Champs.
I know I ask it to you quite often, Stud, you know, when we talk about LAG specifically, but who do you look at to try and lead the charge on a Garrison Control like this? Who do you look at to try and ride the troops back to get themselves in this series again?
I'm telling you, there's only one man that I'm looking at right now, and it's got to be Father App. This is a guy who I had the chance to team with. We've been down in multiple situations, but I know his potential. He has the potential to be the best player on the map. He has just yet to show it. When you're going up against Toronto Ultra, it's going to be a difficult task to do, but aBeZy is that player that I'm looking out for to try to get his teammates and try to rally his team together, try to push himself through this series.
Oh, and right on call, a wonderful two-piece there for aBeZy to open up that A control point. Granted, as actually Mental does take down Bance. I was getting ready to say for a moment, Ultra could have something up their sleeves, but looking to try to make some noise at both portions, both sides of the map. A near turn on there for Mental, as that will instantly associate the push now at A. 2 members on it for LAG. No one yet to contest here for Toronto. 2/3 of the way there, but it's Cammy in from top green. Making quick work of one, and Insight is there for the second. So 40 seconds left. LAG making some good progress, but nothing there yet. And these are some big gunfights going down. aBeZy, a major position right now for the roster. Needs to stay alive, needs to find a kill, and Cammy, in full awareness of it, decides to back on up with 10 HP. Staying alive, not able to win it. Another big gunfight there for aBeZy, but he gets traded out once more from Insight. Sitting on 3 in a row, LAG. Now coming into the final stages. Do they go toward A, or do they make the push once more over at B? Is Assault able to drop one toward the top side? Good map control granted for the Guerrillas. See if Ultra can break on in as Cammy once more on the flank, causing problems.
Yeah, and now LAG had to try to get on towards one of these points, and that's a play that I didn't really like out of LAG right there. They got 2 early progressive ticks over towards A, but they consistently tried to go back and end out that point. Like, at that point, you know that they have full top green control. You want to try to get the progression up at B, but that's not what happens there. Ultra, they were able to just shut down the players trying to go towards that A point, and then eventually fight from top green and eliminate those players going towards B. They kept full map control the entire time, and that's right there where LAG need to show improvements. You already had 2 progressive ticks towards A. Now it's time to work towards B to extend this time, but unfortunately, that's not what happens there. Ultra able to hold and win the defensive round.
And the problem at this stage, quite literally in stage 5, is we talk about, teams needing to perfect things rather than to, totally change something up. Hey, that strategy has to be better. When it comes down to the top rosters, they're trying to perfect a lot of those strategies. And right there, a major misstep for the Guerrillas. Unfortunate, as they made a lot of progress, as we said, at that A point, but just not able to harness anything. Something to keep in mind, Insight does sit on that 5 spree, so that very well would be a huge factor for LAG to try and take this guy down. They have to know he's on some sort of a spree, but we'll see if that can continue. LAG holding well so far on the defense, taking down the trophy, and Silly is there to take him down. A big gunfight, as those streaks are not going to be earned just yet.
Yeah, big kill from Silly right there to not allow Insight to pick up those streaks, but Cammy does find a multi-kill. He's able to take down 3, so the map control is still going to be there for the Ultra, and Insight right off the spawn, able to find another 2 kills, so now that's going to allow his teammates to get up on this B point and work that progression up. Try to extend this time by a minute. You see all of LAG though. It's looking like they're just deciding to chalk it. Assault's able to at least find 1 kill in towards top green, but the pressure's not going to be here, and Ultra, they're going to be able to capture this uncontested.
Or indeed, the big problem for LAG is they don't want to get taken down in sequence, right? Because that could just lead, that could harness the push. Toward Bricks, his Assault is left to try and back on up. That will be the B point secured. An extra minute on the clock. And a big round already for LAG to try and take. You cannot allow for this attack to go the opposite direction. We know Toronto to be such a formidable team in this control mode. Right now, the second best record in the CDL as Cammy takes down 2. Insight already on the flank, as that's going to be a quick 3 to fall. Silly is now going to be the 4th. And can really anybody from LAG get here in time? The stack is beginning to come on in as all 3 players now inside of the point. Mental takes one down from the backside, trying to wither away at this push. He may be the only player to get here in time. He has to try to delay for as quick as possible. That's going to be 2. But as the trades continue to come on in, aBeZy will win the final one, though. That will delay it for now. Some heroics coming in from Father App, but already off of spawn. Toronto not happy about not closing out the round there. They quickly put in some pressure toward the spawn. 13-11 in lives and a minute still on the clock.
LAG just got to slow down. You have to try to let these kills come to you, but they keep on getting picked single-handedly as Cleanix is going to find that kill onto Assault. Now the pressure is going to be in towards Bricks. Bance he's in such a great position, but look at number 5. The pinch is going to be set up from Mental. He's able to take down 1. Unfortunately, he gets traded, but such a great job of just going back and forth with these kills right now. Not allowing the Ultra players to get fully set up on the pinch side. Silly's going to be here through the side door. He's actually going to drop to Insight. So now it's all on aBeZy, which is going to be on the point by himself. 3 players are going to be setting up for the pinch, and that number 1 player in Cammy is going to be set up for a couple spawn kills, but aBeZy, unfortunately, he's going to drop, and no one is going to be in a position to at least get close to this point. Ultra are going to be able to close it out here.
Ultra lock up this round number 2. It was just a matter of time, Stud. It really just looked like a matter of time, just the way that Cammy's frying, the way that Insight is looking. The team just looks to be so well coordinated as Cammy with a sliver of HP. It's granted with the best play. I think I said, what, that was 4 down. Cammy has a job at taking down 3 out of those 4. A great surge to give Ultra just that little bit of extra progression left. And like we said, a minute on the clock, LAG just not able to hold. And the question now that I feel like remains on whether or not Ultra can get this one done in just 3 rounds. LAG, they've got to be bruised. They've got to be hurting. See, they can try to bring this one back. It's not going to be an easy task by any means. Now, especially being on the offensive side as well. And so looking to lead the way, but once more, players getting tagged up from the back as Silly is there for the initial pick. But Insight, he wins those. He wins those, and so does Cammy.
They're just playing with so much confidence, man. Like, every single gunfight is going in their favor. They're putting themselves in not really the advantage gunfights. You see Insight and Cammy just continuously jumping off head glitches just to win a couple of gunfights, and this is just great work, man. Toronto really just running away with this map number 3, trying to close this series out in 3. But aBeZy's able to find 2 from top plat. Now the pressure is going to be on towards his B point, but Bant's in a great position. Unfortunately, he's going to drop. Great shots coming in from Assault. And now the progression is starting to go up on this B point. 40 seconds left. They had to try to close this out and at least focus on that A point by itself.
As the point starts to get wiped away, aBeZy once more toward top green. Just trying to set up a play, trying to set up a sequence there for his team as the nade will be there to shut down Cammy, but unfortunately for him, a few players are off of spawn. Toronto, they have read the play, they have read the situation at hand, and they will grab map control toward that A side. Has aBeZy bought his team enough space? Has he given them enough map control? Silly, the sole player onto the point. Mental's trying to do some work through middle, as that will be Cammy dropping. Next now enters on in. Can Silly stay alive on the point? 5 HP. He gets taken down. You notice it's currently a 2 versus 2 toward the point. Insight having a great performance in this control. Now make it 21 and 11. It's dropped by the nade. Has Toronto done enough? Have they made enough progress in terms of taking down this LAG team off of spawn? As they just continue to get dropped. They make their way inside of the point, but they just falter. They begin to get taken down as Insight taking down 2, sits on a heater. Mental is there for the trade. Clock stopped at 1.2 seconds. Can it go the extra minute? Mental having to go big, but once more Cammy is there, and that will be the game, and that will be the series. Ultra, a solid win here to kick off the Minnesota Rokkr home series. A wonderful win for these guys and a great way to cap it off. A 3-0 sweep in the control.
And that's just one thing that Toronto is so good at doing, is just not going down in sync. Even when 1 or 2 players are dropping, there's always that third player who's in a position to cause some problems for the other team. And that's exactly what was happening there. LAG, they were picking up a couple kills, but they just weren't picking up the right ones at the end because there were players flanking through vent, players flanking up through the bottom of 2s, bottom of plat side, just picking up the right kills at the right time. And Ultra, they just kept map control the entire time. And if you're LAG, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, that was a beating. When you go back to that map number 1, only scoring 75 points there, and then in that map number 2, you lose that 6-3, and then right there, you get 3-0. And now I'm starting to question what was the whole point of this roster change. Because at least when Chino was on this team, the guy was winning you maps. He was winning you search and destroys. He was putting up great numbers in control. But right now, it just feels like LAG have completely lost everything. Like, their hardpoint game isn't good. And I don't understand that one because that's the one that you play the most. Every time you get on the scrim, you're running through every single hardpoint. You're running through every single control. The one that you're going to basically be struggling with is search and destroy. But their respawns are just not good, man. And this is the wrong time to be doing so. Obviously, they needed that match to keep their hopes alive for champs. But it's just not a good performance from LAG so far throughout Stage 5.
Oh man, I mean, I think you called it well, Stud. You called it perfectly. Like I said, LAG, you can just tell, like, they just don't have that momentum anymore. They don't have that driving force. And as we talked about at the start of the show, we were talking about, like, a pro team like this, right, cannot struggle this mightily in the hardpoint mode. Yes. Like, so they lose 12 in a row. Obviously, they get a nice win versus Minnesota to start off Stage 5. We start thinking, hey, maybe things could be different. And then they go through the entire rest of the series and they're just not able to pick it up. It is the lack of team mode, rather teammate and just in general mode consistency that has just continued to plague this roster. And I know we took a quick little moment at the scorecard there. Inside, I think he finishes off like 21 and 12, something absurd. This guy has had a monster type of series, a monster KD, and our Scump play of the game is going to be another look at that incredible 1 versus 3 clutch there from Inside. I mean, one of the best plays that we've seen this entire season. Goes big once more in this play. And as we said, the conversation could not be uttered enough. As we mentioned, Inside, not only is he just great, consistent across all modes, but he is Captain Clutch as of late. A number of different players have held that title, but it just feels like every time this guy's in 1v3s or 1v2s, he continues to put himself in great positions and put on full display why he is leading that Rookie of the Year conversation right now.
Yeah, he's dominating right now in the Rookie of the Year conversation because he has that major chip underneath his belt, and his numbers are just so consistent that it's hard to put anyone else above him, man. What he does for this team in Search and Destroy, obviously is big numbers, but what he does for this team in general, in the respawns, is beautiful because he's that slow and steady player, that backbone for this team that's going to keep everything at flow. When you need those spawns, Insight's going to be the guy to get them, and when you're playing against a team like LAG today, he so far throughout the season has just dominated these guys. 1.3, and I'm pretty sure throughout that series, he had a 1.7, 1.8, man. The guy was just way too much to handle, and LAG didn't have an answer for him, and Insight just makes it look easy, man.
Yeah, and you can see their actual social soundboard seen on Twitter obviously reacts to this one, saying Winsight, hashtag CDL 2021. Also, Insight with the clutch, Rookie of the Year, and Dino calls it well, man. He calls it absolutely perfectly with the clutch, leading that Rookie of the Year conversation. Just we can't say enough positives about this Ultra team, and I always think back to that we had the first series whenever Insight had played. I think it was versus the Thieves, or it was a huge series. A lot of conversations about was he the right player to be brought in back when Methods was on this team. And like we said, he has picked up the pace and absolutely led this group. An impressive start for Insight in his long-lasting career. And Ultra positive to start this one off. Minnesota Rokkr 3-1, a lovely 3-0 versus LAG. Still have Seattle Surge, Florida Mutineers, and Dallas Empire to go. And like I said, not an easy schedule by any means. But folks, when we come back after the break, it is Lottie, joined alongside by Benjamin Vance. He's feeling good.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Mountain Dew Game Fuel. Pre-order the new Courageous Sherbet flavor now on GameFuel.com while supplies last. Tournament audio and team listen-ins are powered by Astro Gaming, the official headset and mix amp of the Call of Duty League.
Hello everybody and welcome to your Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. This time I have Bance from Toronto Ultra. Bance, first of all, big dub from you guys. 3-0, super chill, super easy, very quick, you know, just getting the business done and dusted. We appreciate that so much. I got to ask you though, because the race is on for second seed at Champs, and I want to know, how important is it to you and your team to be able to secure that second seed heading into the big day?
Yeah, it's important for us. It's just a good confidence builder, especially if we secure it, because that means we're hitting some good form going into Champs. But our main focus is just improving on all our worst maps and stuff. Even if we don't get it, like I still think we've got a good chance at it all, regardless of if we have a buy or not.
Gotcha. Now, in the Open this morning, we actually discussed the evolution of Ultra from winning Major 2 to now. So how do you think your team have actually come on in terms of progression, in terms of where you want to be at the right time? How much do you think you guys really have evolved from that moment?
Yeah, I think we've improved a lot. Consistently, we've obviously been performing quite well. But our main thing is just like our confidence and stuff. I feel like the competition's got miles better than it was obviously during stage 2. And so like placing highly like now is a lot harder than it was like before, because I feel like now you've got New York hitting form, you've got OpTic hitting form, you've got LA Thieves hitting form, FaZe is just FaZe. Like there's so many top teams and annoying teams to play, like Florida, Røkkr, like every team are playing really well now, so it's a lot harder.
It is indeed. Well, I'll tell you what, with the competition getting fiercer, you're still Atlanta's most scary team, by the way. I don't know if you knew that, but Atlanta is still kind of finding you a little bit dangerous, Ultra, that's for sure. Now, you end the stage playing Dallas Empire, which is quite a big game. Do you see this game being a potential test for you guys as a visual heading into the the major, the 5th major we have?
Yeah, I feel like all of our group games are quite tough. Not just Dallas, but Dallas will be a real test for us. But you got like Florida, they're very good now. Seattle, they're like improving greatly as well. So there's a lot of teams now like in our group, like tough competition. So we've got to work out for us to secure top 2.
Tell you what, you respect all the teams in this league, Bance. We respect that so much. Thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck heading into the rest of stage 5, man.
Thank you.
There we go, Bance, very humble. He's always very, very humble. You know, no fighting words, but I tell you what, there is some confidence behind this going forward for sure with Ultra. Excited to see how they do for the rest of the stage. But don't worry, the day hasn't ended there. We still have one more game coming your way, and that is in the look of Rokkr versus Surge coming your way next. Don't go anywhere.
Seany, the official eyewear for the CDL. Armour your eyes with Seany Blocks blue light protection glasses by visiting seany.com/gaming. Get insurance savings and discounts from USAA, the official insurance partner of the Call of Duty League.
We made USAA insurance for renters who make the most of their space and money. That's why we make it easy to cover the stuff you love for as little as 33 cents a day. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to day one of the Minnesota Rokkr home series presented by USAA Insurance. It is time for our final series of the day. It is your Minnesota Rokkr taking on the Seattle Surge. But first, before we get into that game, we got to take a look at our playoff picture. Obviously, we discuss these matches. This is what it's all about, where you're seated, who's making it to the top 8, specifically, who's making it in toward that top 6 in regards to securing that winner's bracket. Minnesota Rokkr, one of the 3 teams currently in competition for trying to hold on toward those top 6 positions. Instead, LA Thieves, off to an excellent start, have made that race much more tight. I think both these teams currently separated by 10 points. Without a doubt, a major series for the Rokkr.
Yeah, this is a huge series for the Rokkr to just try to get that 6th seed, like you said, man. Only being up by 10 points on the Thieves roster, who looked great in their first week with John. You have to make sure that you're getting these wins. And in this matchup right here versus Seattle, obviously Seattle, they played really well at the Major for getting a top 8 finish there, but so far online, it just hasn't been working for them. At that last series that they had, they ended up dropping that series as well in a 3-1 fashion. And on the opposite side, you know, you have Minnesota, who just played a tough series versus Toronto. So they're looking for a strong bounce back here.
Yeah, without a doubt. Looking for a nice little bounce back. And as we said, they started off the stage well, and they are currently in hunt for their 2nd win of Stage 5. As we said, they got a number of different teams on their heels. LA Thieves, Florida Mutineers, everybody trying to take away that top 6 placement. But we'll see how they can look today. Let's go ahead and meet your home team, the Minnesota Rokkr.
Rokkr certainly come to play.
They can't stop it. They can't stop the kid. They can't stop it.
Oh, Priestahh.
It's Standy! Cuts them all down. What was that?
Bang! MajorManiak, 200 IQ, 10 out of 10 play. Oh my word! But Dashy is going to save the day. Rokkr, our kings of the north.
Tons of eyes on this Minnesota Rokkr team, not just because it's their home series, but like we said, because of that race for top 6. So I think it was Nameless at the top of the show said that, hey, this team potentially has the most to lose this week, as obviously they'll be facing off here in just a few moments against Seattle, and they have a big game on Sunday versus the Empire.
Yeah, it's a huge game on Sunday versus the Empire, but you want to focus on the match at hand right here today. You just want to make sure you're taking it one match at a time. And for me, Minnesota, they've shown that they've gotten a lot better in their hard point as they were able to take that first one versus Toronto. The only thing that scares me for this team is that back in the day, their go-to game mode was that search and destroy. And I feel like if they can get their search and destroy right back up on form, then they will be considered one of those top 4, at least top side of the teams for the Minnesota Rokkr, because when you watch them in search and destroy, it's just a lot of individual plays. Standy's always left in the clutch. Someone's always trying to clutch up for that team, and it's just not the way you guys want to play it. You need to find a little bit more ground, or at least a little bit more consistency in that game mode, so you can start fighting a little bit better versus these top teams.
Yeah, and also too, it feels like, you know, teams who have been kind of at the top of the top, your Atlanta FaZe, your Toronto Ultra, even Dallas Empire, whatever you want to label, a majority of the time, S&D has been kind of that mode that those teams have been able to rely on. It's not necessarily always been the hard point or the control. It's been S&D that has been more of the consistent barometer for how some of our top teams elevate their game. And one team who's looking to really improve in that search and destroy category, it's no longer control. Now it is search and destroy. Let's go ahead and meet the roster that sits on the other side, your Seattle Surge. Fire coming in, but can Prestinni win this too? No. He does. That's 3 straight. Dashy versus Octane, and it's Sam who's able to come away with it.
On a classic, trying to line him up in the final.
Looking to find a few more, but Gunless absolutely rips his way through the 3 of them. 249, Seattle won!
And there you have it, your Seattle Surge. Stud, it feels like after the loss that they suffered versus the Mutineers last week that, I don't know, some wind kind of taken out of their sails, given how great that this team looked at the Major.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of wind taking out their sails, man. They lost 2 hard points there. They also lost the Search and Destroy. They've just improved in control. And that's crazy because Seattle, they were the worst team that we had in that game mode. So the fact that they are winning those consistently, that just shows that they showed improvement there. Just the other 2 have fell off. But let's just hop right into our keys to victory for the Seattle Surge. Control has seen improvements, but S&D has taken a huge dip. 2-10 in their last 12. That was a little error there. It's all good. But 2-10 in their last 12 Search and Destroys. Not really good, man. Classic also needs to have a good bounce back series. -34 versus Florida, especially in the hard points. I'm pretty sure in both hard points, he's putting them like a 0.5 combined. Like, that is terrible. Classic needs to come out and play today. And then for the ARs, Octane and Gunless need to take over today. They'll be in a great position if they can dominate the Rokkr duo on the other side, man. And when you talk about this team, at least when you go back to that major, Octane and Gunless were taking over. Like, Octane was putting up a 1.7 in the 2 series that he played. And then Gunless right there, he was keeping up that consistent work as well. So if you get those 2 AR players to play well, especially on the maps that we have, I feel like they have a good shot to take it. The only thing is, if those SMG players can really step up, because Classic, 0.5 and Hardpoint, you need to flip that switch and help out your man Octane in some of these gunfights.
As it feels with the Seattle Surge roster, not just last season, but this season, still in search for that overall team consistently. Can the ARs, can the SMGs match that same level of play together? We will find out. Now, our game field keys to victory here for the Minnesota Rokkr. First thing, Standy needs to take over versus the Surge SMG. So far throughout Stage 5 poses a 1.18 KD, and historically versus the Surge has been quite good, a 1.27 versus this Seattle team. And also need to get back in form in the Search and Destroy. As you talked about it at the top, Stud, this mode can elevate this team to being a top roster. Then finally, Control very well could define how this series plays out. They need another great performance in this particular game mode, and historically versus the Surge, they have taken control each time that they have played it. So as we said, both teams in search for consistency. I think it's fair to say Seattle in more of a desperate need in that case. But for Minnesota Rokkr, I feel like the story around this team, Stud, has been on that man Standy. He has been so good for this roster. As we said, a 1.18 in their first 2 series, and hopes to lead Minnesota to their 2nd win of Stage 5.
Yeah, man, ever since Standy has entered the Rokkr building, he's been the man. Like, the guy's just been putting up some insane stats, like a 1.18 overall on hardpoint. The guy's just absolutely insane. But when you take a look at our quick scopes here, obviously, Minnesota, they're a little bit more favorite in Search and Destroy, a little bit more favorite in that control as well. But the good thing is for Seattle, they're a little bit better at hardpoint. So this can be great, especially on this map number 1, because we saw a lot of success, at least at that Major 4 on land for Octane on this map, because he was really taking over, man, on a map like Checkmate, which allows those ARs to just set up, hitting themselves and pre-aim down the lane of sight and get those easy kills. So I'm excited for that Checkmate map, because we saw Minnesota as well play it against LAG. They dominated them. This is a map that they used to auto veto. So the fact that they're putting it in this series shows that they're starting to get a lot more confident on it as they continue to practice it.
Yeah, and I know that you mentioned, obviously, when we talk about our keys to victory, we specifically do look at that AR duo, both Octane and Gunless there for the Seattle Surge. What kind of damage they can do, and as you said, at that major, this is a map where Octane took over. This is a map where Gunless really started to feel comfortable. As we said, Rokkr, great historically in terms of their most recent series. Granted, it is versus the LA Guerrillas, and it seems like a lot of people have the ability to 60-point, 70-point club them, but they have some good reps on it as of late. But here we go, folks. Our first map of what very well could be a classic type of series. No pun intended, we love Nicky D, but Minnesota Rokkr versus the Seattle Surge. Checkmate Hardpoint is where we find ourselves first. And oh boy, it is going to be a fun one. As we said, heading toward Checkmate, and I know we talked a lot about Standy coming in toward this series, Stud, just granted how great he's been for Minnesota, how great he has been in this stage, and he also poses a 1.1 on Checkmate Hardpoint throughout this year.
Yeah, so he needs to have another big game. And the good thing about it is that even though his teammates are starting off on the bad side, they're picking up a couple kills in towards this P1. That's going to be 3 players early down on the side of the Surge. So now they have to try to break in, and Minnesota is going to be able to get some good time off of this P1 uncontested. You're going to see a couple players from the Surge trying to slow it down a little bit, but so far Minnesota are doing a great job at just picking up these kills. Yet the spawns still haven't came in the flip, but they're doing such a great job at this P1, collecting all this time. It's a great job from Minnesota so far.
Great job with those SMGs toward top lane. Prestinni wanting to have the final word on this and very well could earn that. Fortunately for him, no time potentially going to be awarded for his efforts as the Seattle Surge continue to look good toward the middle side of the map. Just as I say that though, Priestahh winning a major fight toward that A lane. With Minnesota getting, what, 50 seconds uncontested at P1. You could not ask for much more than that, as now that puts all the pressure on a Surge to hold down this money hill at P2.
Yeah, and Prestinni, he's doing such a great job, man. He was able to find 3 kills towards the ending half of that P1, which kept the spawns for his teammates, and currently working on a streak. Unfortunately, he's going to drop, not being able to pick up any streaks right there, but Seattle keeping the pressure on. Unfortunately, Octane's trophy is going to betray him, and he's going to drop it now, spawn all the way across the map. The last player in this position is going to be Gunless. They're going to sniff him out, and Minnesota get a clean break.
Yeah, instead, I mean, that is just a wonderful break there from the Rokkr. As we said, based off the way that you play instead of P1, you can't afford, if you're the Surge, to allow for that hill to go away empty-handed. An excellent start toward this HP, the best way possible if you are a Minnesota fan. Final 10 seconds going down, and you can bet it looks good to go the way of Rokkr, but Gunless once more putting in the back of our minds that this Seattle team is not going to go down without a fight. Currently sits on that 3 spree, as now we head in toward bottom plane, and this could be potentially where Big P starts to take on off. Surge for a moment. Get a toe in. Classic trying to get some top plane control. A big 1v1 for him as Prestinni continues to snap.
Yeah, they're doing a great job of just finding these kills around the hill. Just no one's in the point yet, so they're not getting any more time. Eventually, someone's going to get in. That's going to be a clean 4 dead on the side of the Surge. So now they're going to be able to get fully set up for this P3. They know all the spawns are coming in from back yellow. So far, they're doing a great job of just holding them in this position. Just keep in mind, look at that mini-map. Number 2 in attach. He's actually going to spawn behind these players at wood. He's able to pick up that kill onto Gunless. So now that's going to turn the focus of Octane, knowing that he has to try to pick up this kill to not allow the spawns to flip. But already a job well done from Minnesota, as the spawns are going to be flipped, and now they should be fully set up for that P4 hardpoint.
Yeah, I mean, what? Obviously, Attach gets a great opportunity and seizes it. The big gunfight goes down there onto Octane, and from there, the Rokkr have put themselves in good map positioning. But let's go and step aside and see how the comms sound. Our Astro listening now with Minnesota.
Classic. One shot our side. Yeah. I'm going top lane.
Look at our side. I'm low plane right now. One's under A wing. I'm hopping up A wing. Hop to A wing. I can hold our side.
I'm going A-wing.
I'm going up A wing.
I'm going up A wing.
Our side, Nick. Our side, Nick.
He's close up.
Nick then.
A-wing, Prestinni dead.
Nice. Help me our side. Octane hurt. Octane dead. I'm blocking.
Actually, I'm getting dark spot.
Yeah, I'm gonna get top lane.
They be open in tube. I think they're
hurt. I'm top lane.
A-long, classic, 1 shot hill.
Tube hurt.
Shot the guy hill.
One
shot close right.
I got him. Dead. Nice. Play left side. I'm 1 shot.
I'll
help. I'm drop down. He's 1 shot behind you.
Chase you, dead.
I can get initial.
I have
a
I'll
play top lane. Make sure you block, eLLeY. I have a
trophy
new.
On either side. Open. Shit on. Oh my god.
One's going exit, I think.
Yo, he's top A-wing, hopping up.
Listen, I'm saying push up. Someone block.
I can't block.
Wait,
one of my spawn behind us. Block. We're good.
2 open and 1 shot.
I'm top lane.
2 and 1 shot. They're deep.
I'm gonna truck. 1 shot top lane.
Yeah, I'm racking long.
Yeah. Look at exit. Our exit. I got my front. Look, my front.
Yeah, I can help.
Alright, I've crossed you.
Yeah, he's better cross on me.
Okay, I can help.
Exit.
I don't have your cross yet. Another one. I needed it. Exit.
Exit, dead.
Yeah.
Yellow crate. Prestinni.
Yo, there's 3 attacks. Prestinni on my shot.
I'm helping you.
I'm going top plane.
Yo, we can try to work on
my shot. We'll be wing.
Okay, I hear you. I'm picking up deep left.
You have a trophy? Tell us for top plane. There's gonna be multiple top plane.
Left.
Low B wing. I'm 1 shot.
Plane. Pierce. He's weak.
Low B wing.
He's on the pallet.
Alright, we're coming together here. Take your time.
He's still low.
Low
on top. Low on top.
I'm flashing over.
I'm holding my cam.
I'm looking over you.
He still steps.
I don't see him top B wing. I'm trying to help you last
one.
Radio.
I'm looking
at stairs.
Nice. I'll look at top B wing. I'll look at top. Top B wing done. Let's go too.
Nice. I'm coming home.
I'll get your left.
No, behind me. He's exit. He's in exit corner. Exit 1 shot.
Minnesota Rokkr really starting to get into form. I mean, really just looked absolutely phenomenal toward the end of that P4 and P5 stud.
Yeah, when you went into that listening right there, you could just tell their main focus was to not allow any players from the Seattle Surge side to spawn behind them. You heard Attach, you heard Standy, you even heard MajorManiak. Anybody blocking in the back? Nope. Okay, well, let's just hope that they don't spawn back there. Once their teammate dropped and spawned back there, they had the full setup that they wanted. They held down that P5 for the entire time. In Minnesota, they are just really clicking right now in hardpoint. I haven't seen this much teamwork out of Minnesota so far, at least on this map, man. But they are just keeping the fundamentals in their back pocket, doing a great job at just picking up the kills and holding the spawns properly. Minnesota about to open up to a 100-point lead nice and early into this map.
You can already feel the momentum beginning to shift toward the Rokkr as Classic and the Surge Boys look to try to do as much damage mitigation as they can. But the SMGs continue to fire, as that's going to be 4 in a row for MajorManiak. Octane toward the back. See if Major does in fact spot him out. And with that flash information is gained, Classic's able to win the 1 versus 1. But take a look at Standy in a great spot. He gets found out. And for a moment, Seattle Surge, they get some time to breathe. And what feels like for the first time in a long time, Stud, they get a hill that's uncontested for a moment. Just as we say that, Priestahh is there to cause some issues. And now it's Standy's turn toward the flank. 20 valuable seconds still left up for grabs, and Prestinni's doing everything he can to try to keep this one as close as possible. And it will be the Surge having, for the first time in this game, a successful P2 hold, and boy, did they need that.
Yeah, they definitely needed that response right there, even though it was kind of funky from both teams right there. Kills going back and forth, but Seattle did a good job at just picking up a majority of those, keeping those spawns, and then eventually gaining the remaining time on that hard point. Now they're right back into this. Only down 45 points. You have to try to break into this P3 hard point nice and early. They're getting the spawns for P4, but there's so much pressure, so much map control on the side of Minnesota Rokkr right now. Just going to force a couple players from Seattle Surge to try to challenge a couple gunfights that are not really in their favor, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Is another 3 players go down. They still have those back spawns, but this has been a great hold so far for Minnesota on this P3.
Yeah, a great job, as you mentioned, for Minnesota. Really throughout the middle side of the map. They've looked great at P1. They've looked pretty solid at P3 as well, and based off of that, that is the reason why the score indicates what it does. 18 seconds left toward bottom plane. Then the rotation will be in toward a street, but is it really going to even matter all that much as Priestahh, MajorManiak? It was the SMGs for a time. Now it's the ARs going off. 230 to 141. Less than 20 seconds left before this game 1 comes to a close, and Standy may end this one out in somewhat of an explosive way, turning on to Prestinni to earn that second streak. It's going to be an artillery, and it's going to be a cruise. Is it even going to come into play all that much? Probably not. But with 2 seconds left, it is fireworks here on Checkmate. 1 more point left before this one comes to a close. A big fight to win there from Gunless, but as we mentioned, it's all consolation at this moment, as the crews will look to try to rein on in. Minnesota looking for that final second, and that very well could do it. Props to Seattle for doing what they've done. Tatch, they're gonna get the assistance, and there we have it. Rokkr answer big in the opener.
And that was just such a great job from Minnesota. I think the turning point of the game, though, had to be that first P5 hard point, because Minnesota did such a great job, man. They broke into that P4 with about 20 seconds left. They secured those spawns and then held that P5 for the entire 60, and that was the turning point of this game, because then eventually they did such a great job at that P1 on the first go around that on the second go around they were able to at least gain 30 seconds off of that. Even though Seattle were able to bounce back off of that P2, I feel like just the amount of time they got off of that P1 and the full 60 hold on P5 is what allowed Minnesota to walk away with this one. They were just dominating, man, keeping the spawns, keeping control of the map, and just maneuvering as a team. Great teamwork from Minnesota in that map number 1.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a great team victory as well. Like, that wasn't just because, you know, let's say it was versus the Seattle Surge. I mean, so like that was clinical. We talked about, you know, throughout the amount of hills that they were able to control, breaking in toward P2, holding well the middle side of the map. The amount of 3-4 players down that they got, that's not just you know, maybe a more bottom of the barrel type of team problem. That is a great win for this Rokkr team. And but as we said, they're looking for that game mode to coincide with the control. Our point very well may be that.
Yeah, well, their hard point is definitely looking good, man. When they go up against the top teams, they're able to fight at least on the first map. When you get deeper into the series is when they tend to struggle, man. But that's a good answer from Rokkr right there. Now they have to show us strength in Search and Destroy. They're going up against a weak team in the game mode in Seattle Surge. Like we said in the keys to victory, 2-10 out of their last 12. They need to come out and win the Search and Destroy to put them up 2-0.
Yeah, I know Nameless is sitting there saying, okay, Minnesota, we saw you in game 1. Let's see how you do throughout the remainder of the series. It is Search and Destroy on Standoff when we come back.
Grind for the hustle, I can't knock it. Do what it take, do what you do, you could try. Yeah. I've been up, I've been stuck up in the sky. Yeah. Only at the top, I can't lie. Haters watch it, throw the piece, tell them bye, 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 bye. I got things to do, I got bands to get. Competition up in smoke, ooh, cannabis. Ask me why I'm a top 10 candidate. I'm so fly, I'm so clean, ooh, and I'm rich. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. Check the scoreboard, I'm running up stats. Numbers don't lie, that's facts. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. Check the numbers, I'm running it up. I got penny bands, I'm thumbing it, yeah. Tell them move, get up out the way. It's ludicrous, yeah, how much I'm getting paid. 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10K. No mob ties for the player being made. Now how you spoke to your girl, better check her phone. And do you know what she doing when you not at home? And when she tell you she alone, but she not alone. She got a lot of options, eeny, miny, mo. She gon' do what she want, ain't no stopping it all. Pour the liquor in the cup, yeah, I'm topping it off. I might take your girl, take a trip to the mall. Put the shelf in the bag, yeah, cause I'm copping it all. I'm saying, they can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. Check the scoreboard, I'm running up stats. Numbers don't lie, that's facts. They can't stop it, they can't stop the kid. They can't stop it.
Seany, the official eyewear for the CDL. Armor your eyes with Seany Blocks blue light protection glasses by visiting seany.com/gaming. Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. Call of Duty League is brought to you by T-Mobile. T-Mobile is the shot caller in 5G. Lead the game from the lobby to the last push with America's largest, fastest, and now most reliable 5G network.
My name's Eli Benz, aka Standy, and I'm a professional Call of Duty player for the Minnesota Rokkr. My experience as a CDL rookie has been phenomenal. I think it's really fun to play against players that I used to look up to.
Mack goes down as well.
My reaction to getting picked up to the Minnesota Rokkr, I was ecstatic. Some things that I've learned from my Rokkr teammates are a lot of intangibles, stuff like making the right play at the right time and being focused in like super stressful clutch situations.
Standy clutches it.
My duo is Attach. He's really nice and he came off as a great teammate. A goal that I have for my rookie year is obviously to do my best to try to win the Rookie of the Year award. Stay excited for the future because great things are on the way.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Minnesota Rokkr home series. You get to learn a little bit more information about the Stand man. As we mentioned, he is desperately looking to try and get a little bit more elevated, I guess you could say, in that Rookie of the Year conversation. We talked about that at the top of the show, but Stud, walk me through it again, man. How impressive has Standy been here for Minnesota?
I'm telling you, man, ever since this guy has entered this roster, he's been the spark that they were looking for. A guy that consistently can throw up top numbers in every single game mode. You see him overall, he's going to be sitting at 9th. Hardpoint at a 1.06, S&D a little bit better, control a little bit less, but just overall over 1.0 KD, man, and that's just consistency across the board. Out of such a young player, you usually don't see that when you're playing against players that you probably looked up to at least to get to this position. Like, if you're Standy, back in 2013, you're sitting there watching players like myself, players like Scump, players like all these guys, all these veterans. So the fact that you're on this stage and you're putting up the performance you are in your rookie year, man, you gotta tip the hat to you, man, because you have been preparing yourself for this moment, and he's definitely been showing up for this team so far.
Yeah, he absolutely has. And one kind of interesting soundbite that I earned from that content piece, Stud, was Standy went on to say that he's learned a lot of intangibles throughout his rookie season in his spurt so far with Minnesota. He's learned things like better timing, being more focused in the clutch. And I want to ask you, like, you know, whenever you are a rookie, what are some of the most important things that you do need to learn in your first season of play?
So I remember back in the day, man, when I was first entering the league, and thank God I had the best coach in the world in Rambo Ray,
That's right.
who was telling me how to play the game. So whenever I would make a mistake, I'd always argue with him. I remember me and Ray actually almost got into a fight once when we were living together in North Carolina at the MV house. And it was just because I decided to make a play as an aggressive player that I am, but he broke it down to me that there's 90 different outcomes of how this play can possibly play out. And you always want to get the one that statistically puts your team in the advantage every single time. So I'm happy that he was able to realize that, because there's certain situations when you're a rookie, you come in and you think that you can just do it all. But there's a level of play here that you can consistently do it as the right team. And Standy has finally found his footing there, just doing what he needs to do for this team to pick up some W's.
And great awareness from him so far. I actually had the chance once to talk to Ray. He told me, he's like, yeah, when I team with Stud, it was an interesting time. It was an interesting affair. Like you said, punches may have been nearly thrown at one point, but as we said, so important to be surrounded by such great players as Priestahh will look to put in the defuse. Nobody here from Surge, rather specifically Gunless, in a position to check on what was a very, very valuable piece of cargo, as the Rokkr will be able to fire that one in and grab our first round. But as you said, man, just so important to be surrounded, you know, by the right players. I know you mentioned, you used an interesting choice of words. Like, I was so blessed to be joined alongside a player like Rambo Ray. And I know for Standy, like we said, he's surrounded by some excellent veterans of the scene. We talk about MajorManiak, Attach, Priestahh, guys who have played on the biggest of stages. Couldn't ask for a better supporting cast.
You definitely can't, man. And just going back to that round number one, that was faster than the flash, man. There was good play from Standy on hitting that back alley, setting up that pinch, and then just Minnesota being so aggressive towards that bomb site. Even though Gunless was the last player up, they just had too many bodies on the map to work that defuse. So now Minnesota up 1-0 are going to be on the attack. Octane is going to be sitting around this deli area, trying to watch that cross towards that A bomb. Prestinni's also going to be doing the same exact thing. It's all about the timing here, though. You have to pay attention to number 7 in Classic. When does he decide to hit this flank, or is he just going to continuously throw shoulders and just allow Minnesota to try to make this play over towards A?
Being in such a great position. And maybe walk away with that first kill. MajorManiak using the statue to good usage, and that will set up Priestahh to get that first blood. Again, it was a very difficult start, and now through the picket fence, Gunless is able to provide a few shots there into P-Dog, but he's still alive. He's still barking, and very well. Could get that down very shortly. Seany holding the angle, takes down the turret, and that will now put Rokkr in a 2-man advantage. Gunless position is known. Classic gets wiped away, and Standy very well could find the final one as well. Gunless once more gets dropped in a 1vx situation. Clinical plays from Minnesota and great coordination the middle side of the map to get that first blood.
Yeah, that was a great play by Minnesota right there. If you didn't realize that Priestahh was that player who was camping towards the back of that, like, loading docks outside of that deli window. He jumped on top of those boxes there and was just calling out everything towards the middle of the map. They spotted Octane in towards deli. They put down a couple shots on him to back him down from that position and then soloed out Prestinni. So that was just such a great job from Minnesota on picking up that early first blood and then eventually using their man advantage to put the aggression on towards A, work that bomb plant, and then Standy picking up with some great shots across the map with that AK-74U through that courtyard to now put themselves up 2-0, back on the defense. The pressure is going to be coming in from back alley. Attach is going to have his hands full, but he's just going to try to back down, play a little safer until number 1 in MajorManiak is here to help him.
It was the Surge off the start, grouping up one of the SMGs together and looking for some team shots there with the ARs. Unfortunately for the Surge, the hopes of finding the first blood to start off this round does not go their way. Classic does get a bit of information, tagged up to 42, has to back up because of the nade. Well, some lead has been shed, some blood has hit the pavement. No first kills coming in as of yet, as the Surge look to make the rotation now over at A. Problem being, though, is Standy is still here.
Yeah, so eventually they have to get towards this bomb. And with 25 seconds left, they're able to at least spot Standy. It's all about the timing on when do they decide to attack this, and that's going to be Classic with the early first blood. Too bad the answer is going to be here from MajorManiak and Priestahh. Major finds 2, Priestahh finds the second, and then Attach finds the third all the way across the map. Right there was just way too slow for the Surge. It will allow them to just fully set up on one bomb site, knowing that they shut down that back alley push. So they 3-stack it, they win a majority of these trades, and eventually are able to close out the round. Right now, Minnesota, we talked about it before the series started. They needed to show improvements in search and destroy, at least in their teamwork. And right now, it's looking good, man. Up 3-0 so far.
And just great work there with the AR shots. We talked at the start of the round there for the Surge. They were trying to get some team shots in. It's actually Minnesota toward the closeout of the round, in which team shots are the ending conversation. Rokkr now back on attack. Prestinni yet to find a kill, and what a time it would be for it. MajorManiak, all the smarter, tries to go from the bottom to the top. Prestinni's able to take him down, and that will be a good start here for Seattle. Aware of the backside push. Priestahh looks to back on up. Tries to play it close, ends up getting pegged down. Now it all comes down to attach a 1 versus 3, and he will get dropped. Surge finally getting a round on the board, and it needed to come in at that moment. And Seth, I want to ask you, like, too, what has been your take on this Seattle team in this S&D mode? Because as we said, for a long time it was, when are they going to win a control? When is it finally going to happen? When's it going to be in a map that isn't Garrison? Now they've improved in control, and now the conversation is in toward the search and destroys. As we said, 2-10 in their last 12. What's been the primary culprit that you've been able to see?
When I'm watching the Surge play, at least so far in this map, I think it's just the early first blood percentages. Like, I think players are taking too much risk, at least in the beginning, because if you go back to that defensive round where Octane was watching over Prestinni, they get him out of that position. Prestinni's basically with his hands up. He's going to be a free kill. So they have to try to work on their setups. They were able to win that round there, but just a little bit more teamwork. Like, I would like to see Prestinni, instead of doing like the solo island plays by himself, I would like to see him and Classic work a little bit more well together and try to play these trades a little bit more effectively, at least with their aggression.
You've heard the call. We'll see if they do make the necessary adjustments. And MajorManiak toward this top side. He has been teaching the CDL this move since Standoff entered into the rotation and now sits at 6-1. Classic through the hedges looks to try to make Major pay. But he will stay alive, and that's all that you can ask for out of your player that walks through with the first blood, and to also stay alive. Not get much better than that, and Octane on top of the roof, the body comes tumbling down, and now sits next, both Classic and Gunless, with not really too much comms to utter. It is a lonely territory at the backside of the spawn here for Surge. That no real information to work off of. You got 2 players split. Gunless is trying to get a little bit of information, but Rokkr playing all the patient.
Yeah, they know it's a 4v2. They have to eventually work this bomb plant. They solo out Classic right there. Now it's left up to Gunless in a 1v4. He's going to get taken down, and Minnesota are going to put themselves up 4-1. And that's another round right there where Minnesota, they find that first blood. Once they find that first blood, they're all not going to change their positioning. They know that they have the man advantage. Eventually, you have to work a bomb plant, or at least try to find a kill to at least even up the numbers. But that's just something that they're not allowing to happen. They're putting themselves in the advantage, making the gunfights a lot more difficult on the side of the Surge side to even up those numbers. And they're just dominating these rounds right now with their teamwork. Minnesota up 4-1, back on the offense. Priestahh on the 3-speed, trying to work towards some streaks. He's going to be the guy that's giving the comms. Throws his tactics over to A. Obviously, he's going to know it's going to be a trophy system there, but eventually you're going to see him jump up on these boxes and try to fight for some mid-map control.
As you've labeled it, that first blood, so important, not just in general, but specifically for the Surge. That has been their primary area of struggle. Octane not having a great start either, 1-4. Generally, whenever you sit at 4-1, you don't expect anybody to be having the greatest of performances, but another first blood, this time toward Priestahh. You couldn't have said it better, stud, but thankfully, Prestinni is able to answer. Prestinni taking down Priestahh. A bit of a mouthful, but now into the 3 versus 3. Classic on a flank. SMG's battling on both sides of the map, but it's Standy winning his. Classic on the other side. And now it's into the 2 versus 2. Octane and Classic versus Attach and Standy. Octane needing some support. Classic is there to help him. Now comes down to the 1v1. Standy with the bomb. Classic left to try and defend. It is a rookie versus a veteran. And he may get the clearance to plant this. Classic is going to have awareness saying, hey, A, clear. Does he get the nice angle? He does. A few extra shots, but Classic is able to land it A big one there for Nicky D, as this time it's the veterans winning out and now putting their second round on the board.
Such a big round right there from Classic, because he was that island player. Even after his teammates got first blooded, he put himself in a position to push up that back alley and get control of gas. And then eventually, as the pressure started approaching towards that A-bomb site, he hits that flank, finds that first kill onto MajorManiak, and then backs up through his back alley to find that kill onto Attach, and then just plays the 1v1 beautifully. Checks that A-bomb, knows that he's not going to be in that position, and then just puts himself in a position to at least eliminate him, or at least see where he goes from that B-bomb site, and was able to clutch up the round for his team to keep them alive in this game. Now back on the offense for the Surge, looking like it's going to be an aggressive back alley push. Attach is going to realize that, pick up all that information, and here comes MajorManiak already for the help.
MajorManiak is already here, takes down Classic. That's a nice way to start off. Again, the first blood conversation only continues to rally. Gunless getting pegged up, fights toward the bottom side of Grandma's. And Gunless will actually take down Prestinni and pay for it in the end. An unfortunate sequence of events for the closeout of round number 7. And that has got to hurt, Stud. As we said, like there was a major 2 versus 2 fight. You're trying to set up your teammate, but a teammate comes in, and now that puts Minnesota on map point. A rough round to have, considering the start of this one was not so favorable. In the end, maybe looking much more bleak than the start.
Yeah, they had the pressure on that back alley. It's just, I guess Gunless's left thumb must have slipped on the stick right there and accidentally stuck the nade to the wall. So the team kill comes in. But now back on the attack for Minnesota. They're going to eliminate Prestinni out of that position from that back tractor. So they're being a little bit more aggressive towards this A site. But MajorManiak with stature control, able to pay attention to any players trying to push out from Delhi. Prestinni with the early first blood. I'm pretty sure that's the first blood of the game for the Seattle Surge. Prestinni with 2. So on the 4v2 situation, Seattle should be able to close this out, but Attach is able to at least take down 1 to make it a 2v3 situation.
Into the fight versus Octane, and Attach is able to win that one as well. From a 4v2 now to a 2 versus 2. And take a look at how close MajorManiak and Prestinni are. Literally right next to each other. And Attach is going to take down Gunless. Prestinni winning the 1 versus 1 against MajorManiak. And it is once more another 1v1. Prestinni versus Attach. Bomb still has to be grabbed. Attach will look to harness that one. Prestinni does fire away from top wood. Aware of his position and does not want to give him too much room to move. Has the Krieg out, but he didn't challenge. That was such awkward timing there from Prestinni. Looking to lay down the fire. Attach utilizing the tractor toward his advantage. So much strategy, so much awareness. Both of these players Attach decide to challenge what could have been the ace, what could have been the 2 versus 4 clutch. Goes back to Prestinni, despite what is now just the 3rd round finally on the board for Surge. Prestinni having such a major impact in these rounds, doing it off the start and doing it in the close. 1v1s continue to favor Seattle.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Prestinni right there was able to pick up the ace on that round. Such a great play from Prestinni. Early aggression over there towards that A-bomb site. Able to find 2. Then a huge 1-on-1 versus MajorManiak to force it into that 1v1. Takes his time, though, because if you're Attached, I'm expecting a lot of shoulders. Like, not a consistent challenge, but he decides to fly out, tries to catch Prestinni off guard. Too bad he was ready for it and is able to win the round for his teammates. So now Prestinni working towards some streaks. And if he's able to pick those up, they can get right back into this game. The early aggression is going to come in towards this A point. Standy's going to be in a great position to at least slow this down. This Classic is going to jump on the hay barrel. MajorManiak's going to pop the first blood. Standy with the second. So immediately, as I thought it was going to be a great play from the Surge, Minnesota answer. Now in a 4v2 situation is Minnesota.
Thankfully, Gunless answers back, but he's greeted with a few nades. Also a flash. Danny from the flank. Literally perfect execution if you are Minnesota. Tacticals, lethals, everything in the bag being tossed out. Now it all comes down to Prestinni once more, and the Røkkr is there to seal the deal. Minnesota. For a moment, it got a little bit scary. We saw some good signs of life there from the Surge, winning a few 1 versus 1s, but just the coordination at time, Stud, throughout this standoff S&D was nothing short of impressive. once again, much like the hard point, another great team victory here from Minnesota as they go up 2-0.
Yeah, and that was a clean search and destroy, man. The only thing is, well, at least before that map even started, both teams have yet to find a win on that. Minnesota was sitting at 0-2, Seattle at 0-1. But Minnesota, you could just tell they put some work in. Their search and destroy looked really clean in that game. A lot of first bloods on that map, taking advantage of what the map was given to them. Like right there, we saw, even though Gunless picked up that kill onto one player in towards Delhi, they immediately push him out and go for the trade. They know that they have the man advantage. They're playing their numbers correctly, and they're just walking on top on these rounds. And Minnesota, at least based off that map, their S&E has definitely shown improvement just based off of that teamwork that they've shown there.
Yeah, and you notice from the ARs just not having the greatest of performances. That's a 4 and 16 combined for both Octane and Gunless. We came into this talking about the ARs. They have the ability to really cause some problems. I know that was a majority of that was going to be in the respawns, but just not able to fire away. And as you said, the first bloods, the coordination from Minnesota just is going to win out here. Now we got to take a look at our U.S. Army tactical play. This one comes in I believe round number 2. The guy that we've been talking about coming into the series, the guy we've talked about throughout the series, it is the Røkkr. It's the Standman stud.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this is the round where they eventually get this bomb plant over towards A, and Standy's going to be that player in towards Courtyard. So right there, that's when they back down Octane from Delhi. So they soloed out Prestinni. So they opened up with the first blood, and this is just great awareness right here from Priestahh to just jump up, gain that information for his team, and then eventually force the players from the surge to give up this bomb site. They worked the bomb plan eventually, but just keep in mind in the positioning out of Standy. He's still sitting mid-court. Some great shots onto Octane, able to take down that player. Now it's a 4v2. Classic jumped right into his pre-aim. It's an easy kill for Standy. The guy's not missing right now. Now it's a 4v1. They play their numbers correctly. They properly challenge out Gunless, and that was just such a clean round from Minnesota. Their S&D has definitely shown improvements. That's why they're up 2-0 in this series.
Yeah, and like we said, coming into that map, we talked about Standy in that content piece. Said, hey, in these clutch situations, timings, that is what I've learned, and that is what sets the pace for Minnesota. Surge have yet to catch up. It is 2-0. Will we have another sweep, or can Seattle answer back in the control? It's time for Garrison when we come back.
Seany, the official eyewear for the CDL. Armor your eyes with Seany Blocks blue light protection glasses by visiting seany.com/gaming. Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. Call of Duty League is brought to you by T-Mobile. T-Mobile is the shot caller in 5G. Lead the game from the lobby to the last push with America's largest, fastest, and now most reliable 5G network.
Today is the day we've eagerly been waiting for. In March, we welcome Seany as the official eyewear of the Call of Duty League, and today we get to share that official League eyewear collection has, in fact, dropped. Every pair of Seany's Call of Duty League eyewear is available with Seany's Blocks lenses technology, which armors your eyes against blue light. Head to zenny.com/CDL to choose from all 12 team branded collections and get your signature Call of Duty League frames. I've not been lucky enough to sport the specs, but what I've heard is that they are absolutely phenomenal. Miles, Lonnie, Merc, they've all talked about it, and I cannot wait to eventually get my hands on those as well. And speaking of sight, let's not go ahead and focus our attention, Stud, now toward the Minnesota Rokkr. And we got to have this conversation now coming into playoffs, coming in rather toward the major, and then also at playoffs toward the end of the year. Let's talk about Minnesota and how that they have played rather against teams that currently sit above them in regards to record. I mean, what, 0-6 versus FaZe and Ultra combined? What do you make of these?
Obviously the FaZe one is going to be really difficult. They're the best team in the game, and then Ultra right underneath FaZe. It's going to be a difficult task going up against those guys because they're just so well-rounded. But then looking at the Empire, the New York, the OpTics, like Minnesota, when they first picked up Standy, I remember that they were able to take down OpTic.
That's right.
They were able to take down Empire, but then they find themselves at even, and then they struggle with versus the top teams. Obviously, their hardpoint game has been okay. Their control game has been what has been pushing them through a lot of series. It just comes down to the search and destroy. They haven't really found their footing there, but just a good taste, at least off of that last map on Standoff, that their teamwork has definitely started to improve. So hopefully when they go up against another top dog, it's not going to be such a blowout, because if they can continue their teamwork, at least in the search and destroy, early first bloods in that game mode, I feel like they will be able to at least challenge a couple of these top teams now.
Yeah, and I know we came into this series, you and I, we talk over it, we look at the maps, and we're like, okay, we got checkmate hardpoint for the first one, standoff S&D. If Seattle can win that first hardpoint, that can really change up how this one could go, because of course you and I both, kind of thought the S&D potentially should go the way of Minnesota, considering Surge's lack of S&D prowess in their last few games. They don't lose, rather they don't win the hardpoint, and this could have been the game mode previously that we said, okay, this is where Surge can get the edge. Both of these teams, like we said, have been great at control, and I believe also, Stud, this has been Seattle's controlled map, despite what has not been a great year for them recently, and I guess you could say whenever they were winning a few controls, it was on this very map. Have Surge shown you enough? Do you expect them to be able to make this one close? If not, send us to a game 4.
I feel like Surge definitely have shown us enough, at least in their control improvements, because they couldn't win it before. Like, they were the worst control team in the game, but now they're losing Series 3-1 just winning their control. And you can just tell that they've shown improvements here. Minnesota, though, on this map are sitting at 7-4. On the opposite side, Seattle are 5-8. So even though records are here, Minnesota have a little bit more favor. This has been the success story for Seattle, especially on garrison control. You already see it with some early pressure over towards this A point, able to at least get one tick of progression already into the map.
Yeah, and like we said, the initial gunfight, those early team fights, so important for the attacking side. Surge, they had a commanding effort toward that A point, and as you said, they do get the first tick under lock, but see what much more they can do is now focusing their sights over toward the B point. And Gunless in a pretty good spot. Very well could limit the ability for Rokkr off of spawn. They've got 3 hanging out toward the backside of bricks. Meanwhile, it's Priestahh who hangs out toward middle. A flurry of fights, but a majority of them favoring the way of Seattle. Priestahh, can he try to halt this progress for as long as possible? Octane wins the big 1-versus-1. And as we get so close toward the end of this A point, Attach does manage to get a toe in for a moment. Standy wins the 1-versus-1, and based off that minimap, Seattle nowhere in sights in regards toward the A objective. It's now all over at B. The first team push, they get a tick. The second team push, they get a tick. We'll see if Seattle can make it 3, as they've got 40 seconds left to do it.
Yeah, and they have to try to eliminate this B point, but there's just too much pressure from Minnesota right now. Just eliminating these players one by one. Octane able to hit some good shots onto Priestahh, but still the contest is coming in. You see a couple from players from Minnesota just watching that cross. MajorManiak was able to pick up that kill, but now they have to hold top green control. Unfortunately, Standy's going to get some bad timing there. Prestinni's able to get one, but the trade is immediately going to be there. So now time is starting to tick. Surge have to try to get on towards this B point to extend this time by a minute.
Priestahh holding top green control. It only makes the Surge's lives that much more difficult. Fire barrel goes off. Attach still from the flank. That's going to be 3. Make it 4 down inside of the point. Surge. Now every player off of spawn. The worst time to have that 4 down come in is when it does. Minnesota Rokkr, a great round for them to take. Defense ends up going their way, and as we said, Stud, first fight goes the way of Seattle. They get the tick. Second team fight, they get a second tick, but they were just not able to harness enough to get themselves over the finish line. No, Garrison, we often talk about the defensive team taking the round, but good plays from Rokkr to be able to lock this one up and attach. A great start for him. Sits at 7-3 after round 1.
Now it's time for Minnesota to get on the attack. How do they decide to approach this? Because trophy systems are going to be on the side of Surge, so those tacticals are going to work through the middle of the map. But some early pressure trying to go in towards B. They know that Prestinni, he's a little rat, man. It's only a matter of time before they're able to sniff him out, and they're able to catch him as he hops up through the vent with that first blood. So now time is starting to go on the progression towards B, but Gunless with some great shots from top green, able to at least take down 2 to relieve the pressure. That's going to be a nice 3 dead. Gunless still holding out top green. Some great shots onto Priestahh. Going to give him a 3 screen. And this is what we were talking about with Seattle. This AR duo is so scary on the map as Octane and Gunless are finding every single kill, just holding the pressure from Minnesota in their base.
Yeah, like I said, we see spurts of it. We see at moments what explosiveness this team has and does possess. As Rokkr are actually going to be grouped up toward the vent side. MajorManiak does find the information there onto Gunless. And he may just sit pretty instead of top green. May actually go ahead and contest over at A. Does get slightly weakened there by the trophy as he and Classic go back and forth. Priestahh and Standy. The SMGs winning fights on one portion, MajorManiak on the other. And this is where panic can start to set in. Surge off of spawn. As we said, they go 4 down for a moment. And it's both B and A being captured. You see Rokkr just trying to toy with their minds a little bit, trying to get them off of spawn to go toward one side, when in reality the presence is at the other. As here comes Classic, and here comes Octane. They both get shut down from attach, continuing on with his run. Again, that B point still being captured. A now contested as well for a time. Rokkr putting up a great display, but keep in mind, they've got 22 seconds left. One break from Surge could make all the difference.
Yeah, they just need to try to find these kills, man. Attach is doing such a great job of just staying alive towards the backside of this tractor, but eventually he's going to drop. On the opposite side, Minnesota were able to secure that B point, and now they have 1 progression tick at that A point. So now they have to try to just break in through bricks. So that's why you see Priestahh slowly working around the backside. They're trying to set up 1 good push. They're able to at least spot Gunless. Good shots coming in from Priestahh. Easy reads from onto Gunless. Attached with the kill onto Octane. Standy's going to take down Classic. Now it's all on Prestinni. Once he's going to get eliminated, now it's all about setting up the spawn trap. And Priestahh's in a great position to do so. But eventually he's going to drop. 3 players are going to be on it. Minnesota are going to walk away with round number 2.
And that stood very well. And I want to say it is the nail in the coffin because, of course, we still have 1 more round to play. Surge very well. May bring this one back, but that's just the sequence where you look back and you can think, hey, that's where we lost it, right? Obviously, we talk about the hard point in the S&D, but specifically in the control, that attack round just you cannot afford to allow that one to go the opposite direction. Being down 0-2, you can't continue to slip. And now Surge have got to play perfect Call of Duty, perfect control, as they'll have to win 3 straight. As we talked about, it's been a team affair so far for the Rokkr. 12-6 now sits attached. Priestahh at 11-8. 2 players coming into stage 5 that were talked about quite a bit in regards to their roles. Who's going to be running the flex? Who's on the dedicated SMG so far in stage 5 outside of the loss they suffer versus Toronto? That question has never been more dim, more quiet in regards to where these guys both belong. As here we go into the round. First few sequences, first few fights underway. Prestinni able to take 1 down toward top. And that is a nice gunfight to win as the Surge look to try to make map control, slowly making their way up toward B.
Yeah, they have to try to extend this time, man. They have to get this B point and eventually solo focus on towards A. But Standy eventually is going to drop, and Standy was actually working towards some streaks, so that's going to be a big kill. The only thing is, Minnesota, they answer back with 2 of their own, so they're going to be able to maintain map control right now. You're going to see Gunless pushing up through the bottom middle of the map. Octane able to find a kill onto attach, but still, Minnesota not giving them a lot to work with. They're able to get 2 kills, but eventually they have to try to work this progression on towards B. The first tick is eventually going to come in, and now you see Seattle starting to put the pressure on as they're fighting through the middle of the map.
Right into the middle of the map, and Octane does take a big one there onto Standy. That will allow them to grab that second tick, and if you're Rokkr, do you try to back on up? And the choice may in fact be made for them. Mid-map totally controlled from the Surge, as now they've got themselves plenty of time, 1 minute and 40 on the clock, to try and capture at that A point. We'll see what strategy appears to be up their sleeves. As we mentioned, streaks not going to be too problematic, at least for now. And close instead of bricks, Standy hanging out. MajorManiak nearly gets traded, but what great cover fire that is from Priestahh. It could have been a 2 versus 1 at the point, but Rokkr continually having each other's back. I think that's the 3rd fight so far we've seen throughout this entire series, that where somebody is on the brink of death and another Rokkr player is there to save the day.
Yeah, that's what they're doing, man. Their teamwork is there. That's going to be another 4 dead, so now that's going to allow Minnesota to put the aggression on. Unfortunately, Priestahh is going to drop, so that's going to give a little bit of an opening to the players on the Seattle side, as Prestinni does find another kill, but Tatch still is able to find one. Now it's all on MajorManiak. He's in a great position to at least be a little bit annoying on the side of Minnesota. He's able to find one. Great shots onto Classic. Not able to find that kill. Eventually, it's going to get traded. But so far, Minnesota are doing a great job of just keeping control of the map. With 30 seconds left, Seattle only have like 1 or 2 good pushes to try to get into this point.
Yeah, that first minute has bought you nothing. But keep in mind, the amount of presence that they have in the spawn, this could set up for something quite special. As you said, 3 go down, and now the storm comes into the point. Gunless watching players off of spawn, looking to try to beam them and not allow for them to get any visuals. Over at A, finally gets dropped, but have they done enough? Minnesota actually with 2 players that end up getting taken down. Prestinni falls as well. And so Minnesota, with 3 players, 4 players off of spawn, they actually could win this fight. Such a sliver left. Seattle, can they get anything going? That's going to be 2. Last player inside of top green, 20.8. The clock gets halted for a moment, but Prestinni drops Surge. They've got 1 last push. 15 seconds, and this one is done. Priestahh locking away the first P-Dog, watching one angle. It's the stand man from top green, and with 5 seconds left, can anybody from the Surge get here in time? It comes down to Prestinni, stops the clock at 3 seconds and some change. But it's Gunless now on the flank from bricks. He gets traded out from Attach. Prestinni's here, but Attach wins the fight. The 1 versus 1, that one goes Octane's way. Anybody from Seattle, can they get here in time? And the answer will be no. Minnesota, a commanding victory here to start off their home series. A 3-0 in the series and a 3-0 in this control.
Minnesota just clutched up, man. If you're Seattle, that round is gonna hurt because you get a clean 4 dead. Like, the fact that you have 2 people playing for a spawn trap, that is the wrong play. There needs to be a 3-stack onto that point, so at least you're able to close out that round and force it to another round. But the fact that they had 2 people pushed up all the way in bricks, both players dropped, and now the pressure is just going to come on in as both players are coming off spawn trying to jump into top green. They find both of those kills and just eliminate the pressure from the Seattle Surge. Like, that was a choke right there. That was a mistake on the side of Seattle Surge. You cannot allow that to happen. And Minnesota, they countered it beautifully. They won their engagements and were able to close out in the 3-0. But Seattle, come on, man. Stack the damn point.
Oh, man. Like you said, I was kind of caught off guard when I was calling that set. I was like, okay, we got 2 players in the point. What happened to the 3rd player? What happened to Prestinni? And from there, they leave the door open. As we said, just a sliver. Maybe, what, if you have 3 players on the point, that's maybe a second, 2 seconds to work with if you're Minnesota. And as we said, Seattle, they allow for the door to be open, and Rokkr walk right on in and are able to walk away with this series. So I've been told this was a 36-minute series. Very well. Could be on pace for the fastest series that we have had all season. And there were some questions, coming into this week. Rokkr, a huge week for them in regards to, that top 6, the top 8 conversation, in regards to just this group in general for what sets them up for that stage 5 major. The big talking point has been, their control has been good. They start off well at times in series, but they're not able to deliver. Granite versus Surge, but that is a victory that you will take every single day of the week if you're not just a player for the Rokkr, but also a fan of the team too.
Yeah, you'll take that win any day, because now that puts you in a position to try just be a little bit safer in that 6th spot going into champs, because now you're up 20 points on LA Thieves, who LA Thieves still have to play Atlanta FaZe. You gotta think Atlanta FaZe is gonna win that, so they're gonna be able to at least give themselves a comfortable cushion from that into that 6th spot. Minnesota looking really good, man. The biggest thing that I took away from this series had to be the search and destroy, because that's something that they tend to struggle with. Even though Seattle, so far, at least as of recent, haven't really seen a lot of success in the search and destroy, but on the side of Minnesota, their strategies were there. The teamwork was there, opening up with the first bloods, making sure they're rotating bomb sites, playing their numbers correctly. They even almost clutched a 2v4 situation. Don't know how Seattle let that almost happen, but Minnesota, you can just tell. Their teamwork is starting to get there, and they're gelling a little bit better in search and destroy.
Yeah, they absolutely are. A great team victory, and we'll take a look at what closed out this series for our scuff play of the game. Stud, tell me, man, what happened in this round? What did Seattle do wrong, and what did Minnesota do right?
Yeah, so before this play even developed, like, they had a clean 4 dead. There were 2 players that were pushed up from Surge in towards bricks. I can understand Gunless being there because he was able to find that kill. Eventually, he's going to try to set up some spawn traps and just keep the players on the side of Minnesota in their base a little longer. But the fact that Prestinni was able to push up into bricks, tried to place for those trade, eventually gets taken down, and then they weren't able to close at that point, man. If Minnesota were allowed to break in that opportunity for one chance, that's all they needed, man. Because once they get that, they're going to be able to keep top green control. All they have to do is focus on the middle of the map, and that's just something right there with Seattle Surge. They're going to be really annoyed about that when they go back and watch the VOD. All they got to do is stack the point, and they're going to be able to force it to a round number 4. But Minnesota, they clutch up. They win a majority of those one-on-one gunfights to break back in, and then just keep control of the map, man. Just a great job for Minnesota overall.
Yeah, taking advantage of the enemy's mistakes as they Ragnarok our socks off. A nice 3-0 win here over the Seattle Surge, but they have got 2 very interesting opponents still left up on their schedule. What they've got Dallas Empire to face off on Sunday. That's going to be a wonderful one. And what very well could decide the fate of this group facing off against the Florida Mutineers. And like we said, a series that potentially could indicate who will be our top 3 seeds from this Group B.
Yeah, man, and it's scary because if you go back, I'm really looking forward to that match versus Dallas Empire, because Dallas, at least based off the major, their search and destroy was great. It beat Atlanta FaZe in a lot in that grand finals in search and destroy, except for that game 5, but that's where you're going to really be able to tell how much improvement Minnesota were able to show in search and destroy. But on the opposite side, you have the Surge now, who are already 0-2. Now, it doesn't get any easier for them because they got to go up against the second best team in the Toronto Ultra, and then they have to play Dallas Empire as well. So they have the potential to start off 0-4 because both Dallas Empire and Toronto are just a better team right now. Best chance that they have is the match versus Guerrillas, at least for me, because they should be able to walk away with that one. But if you're the Surge, this is not the response that you wanted coming off of that Major 4. You get a top 8 finish there, but back to the online we go, man. It just hasn't been working out for them since.
Yeah, as we said, we had a lot of hopes for this Seattle team after our last major, and so far online has not treated them the kindest. But the positive for them and the positive for you is that our Stage 5 major is just right around the corner. Tickets are on sale, as we said, for July 31st through August 1st. It is going to be a wonderful, wonderful event. It's going to be taking place at the Esports Stadium in Arlington, Texas. I've been told the tickets are selling out fast, so you better get yours if you have not done so already. We came into this series talking about this guy, Standy. He's been taught a lot, but he taught us out of the book of iLLeY today. A wonderful series for this guy, as he'll be joined by Lottie after this break.
Duty League is brought to you by Mountain Dew Game Fuel. Pre-order the new Courageous Sherbet flavor now on GameFuel.com while supplies last. Tournament audio and team listen-ins are powered by Astro Gaming, the official headset and mix amp of the Call of Duty League.
Hello CDL friends and fans, welcome to your Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. I am joined by Standy from Minnesota Røkkr. First of all, man, congrats on the dub. Nice stuff, especially at your home series. Obviously you're moving forward 2-for-1 in the final stage, which is great. And you guys have had your ups and downs as a team, but I want to know from you at this moment in time, how close do you think you guys are as a team from cementing yourselves really as that top 6 team heading into champs?
I think my team is like kind of on that mark until we're like considered the top 6 or like even better. And I think it just comes down to like making sure our search and destroy is dominant, because recently as everyone's been seeing, like our hardpoint has been getting better, our control has been pretty solid. So I think it comes down to like getting our search and destroy better and staying consistent and always using teamwork. And I think that like that will propel us to like a top level team like consistently.
Love that. I'm going to be watching out for the search and the progress that you guys are going to be making. Now, obviously, you end your home series with Empire. That's a big game for you guys and a big test. You know, how happy would you be as a team, and how much progress do you think you guys would have made if you could end your home series run with the win against Empire?
I think that's an important win, because obviously like we want to secure the 6th seed. So our goal is to make sure we at least end this group with 3 wins to make sure we're like starting winners for the major. So either the win against Dallas would be really important, and I think I'd bring like some like a little bit less stress on like winning our like match versus Florida in a way. So I think it'd be really important, and I think it'd be a solid win.
I'm definitely watching out for that game, by the way. No pressure whatsoever. Standy, before you go, I think it'd be a bit of a disjustice if I didn't let the fans get to know you a little bit more. So I'm going to have a bit of fun and ask you a few like quick fire questions just to get to know you a little better. You in?
All right, I'm down. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, who is your favorite superhero?
Superman.
Superman, I like it. And favorite team in any sport?
Washington Capitals, hockey.
Okay, a hockey fan, love it. And one thing you could eat for the rest of your life. It's a big decision.
May not be the healthiest decision, but Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A is very good. Favorite movie?
That's a hard one on the spot. I can't think of one. I don't know. Maybe like the SpongeBob movie.
The SpongeBob, okay, love it. The SpongeBob movie. I would not have been able to answer that one either. And last question. Something you couldn't live without if you were stranded on an island?
My phone. Maybe some water, food.
Only one thing, Stan. You can't be greedy here. So is it the phone, is it the water, or is it the food?
I think I can live without my phone, so probably food, because if I didn't have food, I'd probably die.
I tell you what, we've learned a few things about you. One is that you're a smart man. We appreciate you so much, Standy. Thank you so much for joining us. And best of luck at the rest of your home series.
Yep, thank you, and shout out the beast, Michael Berger.
Ooh. Love it. The beast, Michael Berger. Some wise words from Standy there. Definitely, Michael Berger is an absolute beast. Thank you so much, Standy, and take care, man. Well, there we go. We've spoke to Standy. We found out quite a lot about this individual. He loves Chick-fil-A, he loves Superman. He's also a hockey fan, and he probably can't live without his phone. Let's be totally honest here. Well, I'll tell you what, the night is young, and so are we, believe it or not. And we're going to be talking about everything we've seen today coming up after the break. I have Nameless on the desk in the HQ waiting for you guys. If you're a real one, we'll see you there.
major is around the corner.
Here it comes. The Giants, the Titan.
The best player in the world.
It is going to be one hell of a tournament.
This was just absolutely insane.
This is the COD League.
One of the craziest sequences I've ever seen in my life.
Looking unbeatable. Oh my God! What is this? They're flawless. I can't wait. This is gonna be a blast.
The honeymoon period is over.
They continue on. This is just disgusting.
It is do or die time.
Well, that is the first day done and dusted pretty much as we glance across the gorgeous home of Minnesota Rokkr, and look at that sky. What a stunning visual, and tell you what, stunning visuals all around for our Rokkr boys as well, as they do secure things here in the first day of their home series. But this is today's results presented by the US Army overall. We had two matches, Ultra versus Guerrillas. It was a good day, and 3-0, fast one for Ultra there against LAG, and also an equally fast one, 3-0 for Minnesota Rokkr against Surge. Now I'll tell you what, something very exciting to talk about is the fact that first of all, I can see very clearly, I also have blue light blockers on by Seany, which is wicked, but something even more exciting is that you guys could get your hands on any of the 12 team Zennies that are now available. That is right, you can also rep the Zennies while also repping your favorite team. They're all available at the moment. Head over to zenny.com/CDL, pick yourself up a pair, look intelligent and look cool while you're doing it. Not half bad, is it, Nameless? Not
bad
half
at all.
bad.
Might have to get myself a pair.
Do you know what? I think that's a fantastic idea. I think I haven't heard a better idea all day. And now you said at the start of today that Rokkr was the team who couldn't afford to lose the most. After how they've performed today, what are your thoughts there now? Any more confident behind this team?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to gauge. I mean, they play a Surge team that is just, they're not there, especially online. Like, this looks like a former shell of themselves, the one that we saw at the Major. It's night and day. I mean, Classic, like, poke this guy with a stick. Is he alive? He's not playing at all. Like, he went double negative on map 1, more than double negative on map 3. Like, he's really not there. And the whole team, though, the chemistry is there. They're not able to trade. They let the other team dictate the entire map throughout start to finish map control. So it's not that impressive of a win is what I'm trying to say for Rokkr. The Search and Destroy, you know, I was a little bit impressed by that. Them able to just get it in the clean 3-0 is great, but the real test will be that Dallas Empire. If they're able to push them or take that series, then I will gain a lot of confidence in them. But this is the same Rokkr that we've seen throughout the season. They beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and then when they play the top level competition, like the Ultras, Dallases, and FaZe, they tend to fold. So yet to be known. They need that win.
I'll tell you what, mate, it's the same over here in Camp LVP2 because my confidence level is still not really changed that much. I'm quite on the fence about this Rokkr team. Like I said, I'm not, underwhelmed by any means. I mean, they got their win, 3-0, it was wonderful. But Seattle, just like you said, just not really the team to be tested. It's not a huge amount to play for being 11th in our CDL points. Yeah. So I can't really read too much into that series. But Rokkr are 6th right now. LAT are only a few wins away from taking that winners bracket spot for champs. So Rokkr play Dallas next, like you said, and if they play into that game and show that they can dance with them, then I'll have some confidence in this roster, but only then. So there's a lot to play for right now at the moment. I think a lot of wins that honestly can read into the potential future for some of our teams here. Apart from FaZe. FaZe are pretty chillin'. They're straight chillin'. They're Gucci. But I tell you what, tomorrow we have a couple of bangers coming your way if you're not tired of me saying that yet, because I love all the games here at the Call of Duty League. We have Empire versus Mutineers. We have FaZe versus LA Thieves. Which game, Nameless, are you most excited for?
It's got to be FaZe versus LA Thieves. I mean, I look at this series and it's like LA Thieves have an opportunity to show the rest of the league what they're truly made of. They're 2-0 right now. They had a big win over New York. They've looked great in Search and Destroy. John has come back. And he's been lighting it up. The guy's been taking over. So I want to see them go up against FaZe and how far they can truly push them, right? If they beat them, that would be a massive upset. And that would show that they truly are like the real deal and can win the world championship. So that's a massive opportunity for LA Thieves. That match is a banger. You know FaZe is going to be going 110% because they could see them as a potential up-and-coming threat. It's like we need to shut them down now so we know what we're going to be getting into if we face them in a bracket format in a big tournament.
Tell you what, name a better duo. I dare you. Not only we dress the same, but our answers,
Big
spot
facts.
on. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, big facts. Honestly, for me, it's got to be the same. FaZe versus LA Thieves. It's a speed test for LA Thieves to me. Honestly, it's about how do they even approach this game. They're the most dangerous team in the league. They are definitely the most teamwork team in the league. Sure. It's just entirely just cohesive from the FaZe camp, and it's about how LA Thieves handle this. How do they approach it? What's their teamwork going to look like? Because it is a true test of teamwork going up against Atlanta FaZe and their vetoes. You know, how are they even going to approach it in terms of the overall look of this series? That's something I'm really going to be looking forward to when we get there. But I've got to say, it has to be that game for me also, my friend. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a look at the schedule for tomorrow. You're probably wondering what is coming your way. And I have that just for you, presented by the US Army. So starting the day off, we have Mutineers taking on Dallas Empire. And that game we're looking forward to, Thieves versus FaZe. It is a good one. I'm excited to see where Mutineers kind of are at right now. And I think Dallas will be a fantastic test for these guys to see how they're doing. I'm really looking for Havoc to step up a little bit. I think he's been kind of flagging as of recent. So I'm excited to see a bit more of a well-rounded team from everybody. Everyone pulling their weight across the board there as well. But before we leave, Nameless, I think we need to discuss something rather important on this desk. And that is who wore it best. Because I'm pretty sure every single member of Talent is wearing this wonderful flannel. And we have a graphic.
I need a haircut, man. Oh, goodness. Yo, but
your lid's always looking sharp, mate. It's always looking sharp.
I think we all look pretty good, not gonna lie. You know what I will say though is like it fits Lando. Like this really looks like something he would rock. Like he looks great.
I gotta give it to Lando too, mate. Oh, 100%. In a wonderful kind of an estranged bar.
Yep.
Pulling out a guitar.
Yep.
The flannel, the purple. I think, yeah, I can see it. I really can. I can see that. That is a wonderful picture. Lando, congratulations. You won who wore it best. There is no prize, but some pride. Perfect stuff. I'll tell you what, Nameless, I will see you tomorrow, man. It has been an enjoyable day to start things off here at the Minnesota Rokkr home series. I hope to see you all here for day 2 tomorrow. It's going to be the same time, same place, super easy to remember. And we'll see you very, very shortly. Good night. See you tomorrow.
Has Toronto done enough? Have they made enough progress in terms of taking down this LAG team off of spawn? As they just continue to get dropped, make their way inside of the point, but they just falter. They begin to get taken down as Insight, taking down 2, sits on a heater. Mental is there for the trade. Clock stopped at 1.2 seconds. Did it go the extra minute? Mental having to go big, but once more, Cammy is there, and that will be the game, and that will be the series. Ultra, a solid win. So Minnesota, with 3 players, 4 players off of spawn, they actually could win this fight. Such a sliver left. Seattle, can they get anything going? That's going to be 2. Last player inside of top green, 20.8. The clock gets halted for a moment, but Prestinni drops. Surge, they've got one last push. 15 seconds, and this one is done. Priestahh locking away the first P-Dog, watching one angle. It's the stand man from top green, and with 5 seconds left, can anybody from the Surge get here in time? It comes down to Prestinni, stops the clock at 3 seconds and some change. But it's Gunless now on the flank from Bricks. He gets traded out from Attach. Prestinni's here, but Attach wins the fight. The 1 versus 1, that one goes Octane's way. Anybody from Seattle, can they get here in time? And the answer will be no. Minnesota, a commanding victory here to start off their home series.